and you guys just lived with like loads of neo-Nazis. And it wasn't like you were also neo-Nazis. It was just that
coincidence.
like you guys just happened to live with all of these like skinheads with like swastikas like tattooed on
Is
them.
it because of his haircut?
I know. I
tattoos.
don't know. But it was just like we were just recording it, and then just like this like fucking neo-Nazi walked in, and
Started
you guys
being anti-Semitic.
yeah, he's just like shouting at the mic. He was like, "Oh, the films are made." No, but like I was just like, dude, what?
That's
like,
a strange scenario.
it was a very strange. Other than that, it was a completely normal dream. It was just like us recording
Other
the
than that.
podcast. It was just this random neo-Nazi. It was just one, and then I woke up, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm really glad that wasn't actually."
I'm really
a
glad
thing."
that's not how I'm gonna have to live for the next little
Yeah.
bit of time.
At social events, I just found myself asking kind of creative people I respect the same questions over and over again about films. And I just thought, in an effort to try and make every part of my private life accessible on the internet, I'd ask them people that I respect to come and answer them questions about films. So hopefully it gives you a kind of insight into you guys' creative process and gives people some recommendations of stuff to watch so they're not scrolling through Netflix endlessly. So
That's a good idea.
yeah, so hopefully you get some kind of good movies to watch. So we got some really great guys on the podcast today. I would do anything for these guys. In fact, I have done anything for these guys. The last thing being dressing up as a mascot and
Sweaty work.
Dancing
sweaty
around.
work. Yeah, embarrassing CSM students, which I really enjoyed. So who are you guys?
Well, it's a broad question.
We can start with your names.
Well, which one? I'm Jim,
Yeah, you're Jim.
and you're Sid.
I'm Sid.
Nice.
Yeah, we're artists.
Artist,
We work together.
yeah. Artist,
Um,
curator, general organising duo. Yeah, sort of interested in fiction and narratives and social structures, and sort of make all sorts of things: films, sculptures.
Occasional performance.
Occasional performances where we get
Dinner.
other people do it. Yeah, sometimes you make dinner.
Yeah,
I tie my shoelaces
yeah.
almost every day.
I'm so into it.
He has Velcro.
I'm seriously underperforming in the shoelace department.
I was told I have to have shoes with shoelaces. Really, I like not by my parents, but like
It's
doctor.
a weird one though, isn't it? Because it's
By
kind
a
of
doctor.
Yeah, the doctor was like, you should not. He was
The
like,
dexterity doctor.
yeah, he was like, your feet are fucked, mate. You need shoes with laces. I was like, okay.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's one of those weird things, kind of
Oh,
like an automatic car. Like the whole of humanity is geared towards like making things more easy, more efficient, and Velcro is so much more efficient than
Yeah.
shoelaces. Yet we continue to use shoelaces because of something like automatic cars. So much easier to drive. Yeah, we always use geared cars.
Yeah, but with Velcro, you get all like shit from the carpet stuck in your Velcro.
What
That
are you
is
doing to
true.
your shoes?
Rubbing
You're
them.
rubbing them
What
on
else
the
do you do with
carpet.
your shoes? But what if you walk through like you know,
A meadow?
You get those plants that they leave things on sheep and that, and then the sheep take them and you know the plants that shed
You're
stuff.
kicking a lot of sheep, are you, with your Velcro shoes?
No, but you're walking
Undone.
through those plants, you might get some Velcro. Your Velcro might catch some pollen or other shit.
That's definitely what's going through every single person's mind, isn't it?
Yeah,
Better not get Velcro shoes. I might get some pollen in between.
I
the
think
Velcro.
laces are easier than Velcro. I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fair enough, mate. That's...
I think if you tie a knot, it's easier to squeeze your foot in than if you have Velcro.
Okay.
But saying that, I haven't had Velcro shoes since I was probably about 11. So I don't know.
11. It's quite a late developer.
Well, to be able to walk, so to be able to do laces.
I mean, I had them since I was like 14. I swear.
Mm.
I was really into the Velcro. I guess we should start with question 1 then.
Yeah, sure.
Keep rolling.
So a while ago on Twitter, there was a really good thing called Filmstruck 4, which is the 4 films you would say that define you as a person, and that can be taken any way you'd like it to be. So that's the first question. What are your Filmstruck 4, and who would like to start?
Should we do like a one?
Should we alternate?
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
nice.
I've got,
yeah.
actually, it was hard, so I've got
I bet.
quite a lot.
I think we probably have it. I think I can guess. Can I guess which one you're going to pick first?
No, but I will let you know if we have
If
any
we have the same.
similar ones. And if we do, I'll just pick another one from my
No,
list.
don't pick it. Actually, okay. Yeah, let me know if it's the same one. I had a really tough time choosing
It's really
these as
hard.
well.
I got what,
Also,
eight
the
in
way the question is phrased means that like it's a lot of firsts. Because like the second time you see something, you're not like quite as blown away, and therefore it hasn't changed your whole thing.
Have you got a sequel? I've got a sequel in mind.
I have got a sequel in mind, but
I know what it is then.
yeah, I thought it might. But yeah, so I'll go first. First one I've chosen is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Strong.
Just because, like I said, first time I ever saw like proper, really good like fourth wall breaking, and I was like, this is weird. I'm being spoken to from a film. What's going on? Also, like that whole childhood fantasy thing. Ferris can do anything, and you totally want to be him, even though he's kind of arrogant and a bit of a dick. But you still,
he's a very lovable guy.
oh yeah, you're still like. I mean, now you're kind of like, this guy thinks he can do whatever he wants. But like when I was however young, when I watched it, like 8 or 9 or something, just like, oh, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Like everyone loves him. Like, yeah, and he can do whatever he wants.
Well, you have that idea of like if you're an adult, like literally the world just falls in line at your feet. When you're a kid, at least, it's like they got it sorted. They're not at school or anything. They're having a good time just being an adult, and like that's kind of what Ferris does. He just everything just turns out right for him.
And and it is sort of always about like that unknown. Although I didn't really know about that when I was a kid. About like, oh, what are you gonna do after you graduate? And Ferris is just like, he doesn't care. He's just like, do whatever I want. Like, everything's fine. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, there's like literally that line in it where
Ferris can do it. Yeah,
where she like
Ferris
right
can do
before
anything.
Yeah, which is like right before the parade. He's like, "What do you think Ferris is going to do?" And then he's just. I think that.
Well, they ask him about his. That's like, what do you think Ferris is going to do when he graduates? Like, he's going to be a grill cook on Mars or something. Yeah. And it's like that's just like, why not?
I think that scene.
There's one-liners as well. They smash the one-liners in that film.
That parade scene
funny.
is probably the closest I think you can get to a sex scene on film without any sex in it, right? Because it's just like cinematic, like beauty,
oozing,
just over like gorging. It's like a whole box of Cadbury's that you really enjoy, you know.
And I love it that his dad is like up there and he's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, and it just cuts back to him boogieing a little bit,
and he's like on the that is because up until that they kind of like amp it up, don't they? Every so often it's like, you can imagine if someone, taking someone's car, that would be fucking mental. Like, well, it's skipping school.
Yeah, that's
People
basic.
skip
That's
school.
base level.
Yeah. And then it's like, getting your friend to steal their dad's car, but we'll borrow dad's car for a day. It's like, yeah, okay, they were getting into like a bit of an uncomfy territory, and then it's like, go on like a, what is it, were they floats? Like, in the middle, and then sing on a microphone in front. Yeah, twist and shout.
It's really
insanity.
I read that John Hughes like wrote
it
in a week as well.
Yeah,
So you're just
wrote it in a week.
way.
He wrote it in a week. Yeah,
that he was just so
I did
wanted to
nothing
make
last
movie.
week.
yeah.
It's
But also, he's like another thing about him as a kid. Like he has all these like crazy like synths and clothes and what does he in the opening sequence? He changes his clothes like 5 times, doesn't he? He's like various states of like undress. He like goes into the shower, he gets out, he's wearing that suit, and then he's wearing those like floral clothes, and then he's by the pool drinking that like drink, and it's like, hang on, what? It's been like an hour, like.
I mean, it's strange because it must
it's a fantasy.
It absolutely, and it must be one of the most relatable main characters that keeps you at a distance in film history because he's cooler than you are, which is a very strange kind of vibe, right? Because usually you want to feel with them and kind of feel through them. But with this, it's like, no, he is cooler.
He's on another level.
That's the thing, because, you could definitely argue that, what's his friend's name? Can't remember.
Shit. It's like Cam.
Is it Cameron.
Cameron's
his friend. And Cameron's like, probably the actual like main character or protagonist, because he's the only one who actually changes.
Right.
Like, Ferris doesn't change at all. Ferris is completely the same the whole way through. He's like, cool the whole time.
He can wear a waistcoat really well.
Yeah, and he wears a suit, and he's like, what? He's like 17 or 18. He wears a suit, and he looks like, it's like, how do you look normal wearing a suit? Like, you're like a child. But Cameron's like, he actually like goes through like some sort of actual like visible change. I don't know why that's.
And he's
important,
also more anxious.
it makes Ferris not like a real character. It makes him just like Cameron's like little helper.
Well, isn't there that film theory that he's like in his head?
He's the imagination. So Ferris isn't real, and
he's in Cameron's head.
I thought I came up with that, and then I googled it, and I
thing.
was like, oh, loads of people on the internet have already thought about this. And then I fell down.
that kind of movie though, even though it it has that very mainstream feel to it that anyone could enjoy it. Does have kind of quite abstract moments in it. The moment in the art museum where
with
you're
the
just
Chirac
like,
painting.
yeah, you're just like, what the fuck? Why are we're really focusing?
Well, it's kind of
in
about
on
the
how
city. It's about the city. Is it Chicago?
Right, yeah.
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
he really loves Chicago, so it's like, let's celebrate the city, and that's like
Yeah.
the whole. Yeah, so that's a whole nother thing. Weird, but yeah.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That
Ferris
is
Bueller's Day Off.
that is a good first.
Also, Bob and I used to have, my brother and I used to have it on DVD, and we used to sit in his bed and like probably watch it like once a week. And it was just like one of the DVDs we had, that and
Sure.
Starsky and Hutch, the remake.
Right. What, the Ben Stiller one? Oh god.
Not one you want.
Oh, it was weird, but yeah, it was.
Is that the one with Snoop Dogg in it?
Yep,
Wow.
it was weird.
I used to live next door to one of the original Starsky and Hutch.
What?
Is it?
David Soul. He was my next door neighbour, and he used to play guitar in his garden because he was also like a pop star.
Oh my god.
Oh my
and he
God.
That's a serious
He
claim
was
to
in
fame.
Starsky and Hutch, and so we had a ground floor flat with like a garden, and he lived next door. And my auntie was really into David Soul when she was like a teenager, like had posters on the wall. So my dad used to ring his sister, my auntie, and leave the phone
Oh,
on like
that's so good.
a little lip by the fence because he used to play guitar and play his songs in the garden.
Oh my god.
That was
story.
really weird, yeah.
Wow. That's great.
I think he moved in after we'd moved in, or they didn't know about it. And then one day it was like, David Soul lives next door.
Huh. I've never seen the original Starsky.
Neither
and
have I. No.
Hutch. That's-
Neither have I. So it's not really a film or an into person as any sort of connection to my life. But
so that's not your first pick.
no. My first pick is probably what Jim's got, where we're talking about having a similar one.
Yeah.
It's Toy Story 2.
Yes.
And
I also have Toy Story 2.
it was a really tough question,
Yeah.
and but I knew that was going to go on there instantly.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I've seen it so many times. I watched it when I was a kid. Like, I think it's really, a lot of the films actually are films that I've watched when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, they just stick in your mind. And I think it's also because you share the moments in those films with both your parents and your family and your mates at school. So it's kind of like one of those like threads that runs from your life at school into your life at home.
Right.
But I don't really. Did you have a tough time picking which Toy Story to pick?
Well, it was between 1 and 2. I had a tough time. But
That's what I mean, between 1 and 2.
But I picked 2 purely because of the song with Jessie.
Jesse, I was literally about to say that's exactly what. That makes
Because
me fucking absolutely cry like
I've seen it so
child
many
that's been
times.
kicked.
Yeah. I've seen it so many times I know what's going to happen, and I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
It's
it
still
makes me
like-
cry all the time.
I watch it now and I'm still like, maybe he won't get kidnapped. Maybe when I watch it this time, he won't get kidnapped and Buzz will save him when he's jumping onto the back of the car. But he's still, I'm still like, when I watch it, I really don't want. Yeah, obviously, that means no film, but
Huh, that's great. Also a movie that was made not quickly, but it turned out not how.
oh my god, they
expected.
nearly got rid of it.
Because it was meant to be like a direct to DVD
Yeah.
film, and they had
Really?
They nearly completely scrapped Toy Story 2.
Oh
they
my
were
God.
like, mate,
But do you know the story that like they'd worked on it for like 2 years, and then just like they accidentally deleted it, or just like there was a big problem with all the so I'm literally not even kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine like someone pressed Control Z accidentally, but like they just like there was a problem with all the hard drives, so they had to make it all again in like 9 months.
Oh,
I do remember that, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't
It's
remember
crazy,
the story,
but there's stories about like the animators being so tired they'd get up in the morning, drive, and then they'd get into work, go to work, and then someone would realise that like their children are in the back seat and they've just like forgotten to take them to school.
Oh god.
It's just like crazy, but I mean it was worth it, right?
That sounds like the dark side of Toy Story, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah,
That would have been a good behind the scenes film.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So
Jesus.
why it was Jesse's song specifically? Why?
Well, no, that just made it, for me, if I had to pick one, ideally I'd pick him as a bundle.
Bundle.
As 1 and 2. 3, I also really like, but I don't think it has the same sort of like, because I've watched 1 and 2 so many times.
Yeah.
I think I've only watched 3 like twice, partly because it makes me quite sad. I get less enjoyment out of it than watching the older ones. And I'm not sure how I feel about there being a 4th one.
It's not. I assume there's going to be all new characters and a whole new thing. So I kind of feel like the fourth one is going to be a new thing.
I don't reckon.
But like they'll keep those like main like few characters, and there'll be a whole load more.
Well, that would upset me even more.
No, but it's fine. You can just think of that one as like another thing.
Do you know what the plot of 4 is going to be?
No. Is it the little girl that gives the toys to?
I assumed it was the little girl.
The storyline is Woody and Buzz look for for Bo Peep.
Oh god!
Because she goes missing because she's
not in the third one.
Sick.
That is apparently that. It's
okay.
Like, that's what Pixar have put out, but the third one or the fourth one is going to be that.
Okay,
yeah, because they get rid of her in some sort. Well, they do. They just get rid of her on the third one, don't they?
Don't they get rid of her because she's kind of like she flirts with Woody in the first one.
She's not a cowgirl.
And then in the second one, it alludes to Woody and Jess being a thing. Obviously.
And then
Jess and Buzz
dilutes.
end up dancing or whatever in the third
being
one.
Spanish.
Yes. Did they like? I wonder whether she took a backseat because they wanted Jessie to be like some sort of play a fitter character role in like.
Yeah.
But that kind of it never really I never really felt that though. The whole I mean, it's obvious as a matching, isn't it? But it never really feels like they're a couple.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Or like a love interest.
It's strange.
It's weird. Well, not that weird, but it's just as a reason.
Also, I love Stinky Pete. I think Stinky Pete's great.
I love the cones on the road. Fucking hilarious. When they put the cones on the road and all the traffic crashes everywhere. Also, I love it when Al says he has to go to work and he drives across the street. It's like all the way to work on a Saturday, and he drives, and that makes me laugh every time. I don't know. They've got those really like key memorable moments.
Well, it's interesting because Al, in a way, Stinky Pete is kind of like is kind of extension of him, right?
Yeah.
It's him in toy form, and he carries some of that. The same kind of values that Al does.
Because in the first one, you get like the toys are kind of innocent, and the toys like are like the moral good for the most part, and Sid is the guy that's sort of defacing the toys and turning them into something that look evil, but for the most part, they're still quite nice.
Yeah.
They just have the appearance of being bad, but Stinky Pete he's a bad toy, like Pudso or whatever in the third one. Lotso, yeah. Yeah, I think it's good that they have that like distinction between the toys.
Yeah.
Because the concept's great, and as a kid, it gets you to like really like activate your imagination and think about what happens when you leave a room, and that those objects still exist even though you're somewhere else, and that they might potentially be animate and doing shit. I think the whole like concept teaches you how to like treat the world a bit better, but when like that there are also bad toys, it's kind of like it establishes like you can treat the world nice and like be kind to your toys or whatever, or be kind to this tree in your garden, but occasionally it doesn't go that well, and they might just turn out badly, like Stinky Pete.
But I think there is that, because the first one and the second one are kind of similar in that the whole you're getting rid of a toy to play with a new toy. But that, like you said, with the Jessie thing, is when you're like, oh, like, fuck. They're getting old, and they're not getting played with, and they're not just getting played with other toys, because other toys are interesting, they're getting played with, like, fucking, isn't it nail varnish? Or that the little girl who used to own Jessie is, like, now playing with, and the toys get replaced with, like, makeup or something, which is kind of weird, but I think that is what they do get replaced with on the chest of drawers or something. Yeah. But also, now that's really, like... Now that I am past that bit where I don't play with toys, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like now that I don't live at my parents' house, it's like, it's about like being a parent, and then eventually like your kid will leave and does all this other new shit, and you have to kind of like deal with that. I know that's more about what the third one's about, but it's like already it's like a precursor to that.
It's still an interesting point of view because I only view it from the perspective of the child, but like your parents, you go to see it with your kids.
I literally watched it the other day and I was like, oh fuck, this is weird.
I never thought about
that. I literally never thought about that before, ever. And then now, weird. But yeah.
That's a good pick.
Oh, I think, it's also led me to be a complete hoarder. Like,
I've
got like all my teddy bears that I have when I was a kid, and like most of my toys under my bed because I just can't throw them away. Except for like a stage when I was a teenager when I started melting them.
Do you want to pick another one? Because that was kind of a joint one.
Okay, well, my second film would be Fellowship of the Ring. Lord of the Rings. Probably again because of the same age and the fact that it's so it's such an adventure and it's so grand and like it really like as like I don't know, as a child it captured my imagination and it scared me and I wanted to be part of the Fellowship and it was just a really interesting world to go into and then because of it, like a big part of my life is like being interested in Lord of the Rings, like reading the books or watching the films and listening to the audiobooks. Like probably right up until I was about 21, I probably did that. Every year I watched the trilogy, the extended one. But then I used to read the books and listen to the audiobooks. And I kind of just picked, the Fellowship of the Ring I like because it's got the Shire at the beginning, but really just because that's like the start of it, the first film I've watched. But yeah, Fellowship of the Ring.
It's interesting because we were Fellowship of the Ring is perhaps the most intimate of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
it's you get with the two. There's not really any huge kind of battle sequence in it, whereas the other two have to deal with the scale of that coming.
Yeah,
but this is kind of like the big ending sequence is a very very scaled down almost character study. Where basically most of the characters are trying to run away. I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably the one way you feel most with the characters and are not taken by the sweep of the story as much as the rest.
The massive, huge battle sequences.
And also they're rarely together. Like I think the Fellowship is together for such a short amount of time, which probably ends when Boromir gets sent down the river, and then ultimately other things happen.
Yeah, they have their own stories,
and
don't
then
they?
they're all separate. So you find out where they're from and who they are, and what they got. The common denominator is their shared end goal. And then in the other films, you see them trying to get there or trying to, defend other people who are trying to get to Mordor. But yeah, I think Fellowship of the Ring is good. Like just a binding of like the whole group.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, I can't remember if I saw... Did you see it in the cinema, Fellowship?
Yeah.
Did you? I think it was the only one I didn't see in the cinema.
It's great that you got to see the first one in the cinema, though. That's like...
I saw all three in the cinema.
No, but the fact that you get to see the first... Like, because a lot of like time... I definitely didn't see the first Toy Story in the cinema.
Yeah.
Maybe the second one.
Yeah.
But it's like... When you get to see like a trilogy you're really into, you get to see the whole lot in the cinema. It's like...
In fact, I saw it in a cinema that's...
Is it?
20-minute walk away from here.
Really?
Yeah. Because
you used to live over the
I
road,
grew up
you?
living near here, where we are now. So I was all the Harry Potter films and all the beginning Harry Potter films and nearly all the Lord of the Rings films. I think I saw it at cinema.
All the Harry Potter, that's mad.
All the beginning ones.
Yeah. That's another one as well, Harry Potter.
They got released in Christmas. Always, and my birthday's in December, so I'd always just get my mates and go and see Lord of the Rings.
That's so cool.
As like a birthday thing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's really good.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. On a similar note, my next pick is a similar thing where we would get to go, cause my birthday's in December as well, so it'd be like whenever they came out, it'd be like, to the cinema then, on my birthday, when I was like 10 or whatever. So... My next one's Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the third of the prequels.
Wow, that is a rogue pick.
Because I thought, like, really, the original ones aren't what made me who I am. It's the waiting for that third one.
Yeah.
That literally was like...
I know
it's not the best fit. It was like... Yeah, it was like, oh my god, how am I going to find out how Darth Vader becomes who he is? And I was, like, obsessed with, like, that, like, thing. And I was so excited to find out that. And also in the films, like Darth Vader's only how many hours is like Star Wars is like probably like 100 hours, like 100 hours, not 100 hours, I mean like loads of time.
Like 2.5
20
film, maybe.
So 10 hours, I meant to say 10 10 hours
10 hours is about right.
Darth Vader's on the screen for like 30 minutes,
right,
like in total, and it's like fuck, he's probably like the most famous like villain in the whole like ever.
Yeah, I think so. I think like certainly in the West.
Yeah,
anyway, right?
yeah.
Him and Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah. President Mao. Yeah, but yeah, and it's crazy the idea that like, and I'm a proper like prequel apologist. Love prequels, can't help it.
No, I mean I like the prequels as well.
Yeah, I just do, and I find good in them. I know there's all these like, you know, trade deals probably isn't the best thing to make a fucking whole three films about, and Jar Jar Binks obviously is really shit.
Oh no, I only real I rated Jar Jar when I was really I
thought it was hilarious, but I mean I think now I do think that like just having that character with just like random comic relief is kind of shit, but he didn't need to be like that. It could have been anything else. He didn't need to be that.
But he lives in a cool underwater kingdom.
Yeah, underwater kingdom is fucking sick.
And something I loved as a kid was the scuba things they stick in their mouth and just lets them breathe underwater. It's awesome.
But yeah, I totally find good in all the prequels, and when I probably watch them probably like once or twice a year, and it's like, and I fucking love it every single time.
Didn't you say you watched Revenge of the Sith last week?
Yeah, but that's like, what time of year is it? Yeah. Well, I kind of watched it again because I don't know. I was just I kind of put them on
because I'm pretty sure you watched them in May.
Yeah,
No, you watched them in. It was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, whenever the most recent one came out, I watched not Solo, but the
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. I watched them all again then.
Yeah, before I saw Force Awakens in Denmark.
Weird.
Yeah, it was really strange, and I saw it on Christmas Day, and every day before I just rewatched all of them, and like there's nothing like watching one a day then leading up to like what's obviously like a huge gap between when those actual stories take place, you know. But yeah.
I feel like I just waited so long to see. Also, Revenge of the Sith is the one where you can actually see Anakin as spoilers. Anakin as Darth Vader, because he like it's the only time when he ever like discusses something about his previous life. He talks about Padme when he's first like reborn, as it were, and it's like, oh fuck, that's Anakin talking. I can feel him talking, but then all the shit after that is like, that's Darth Vader. But you never like see that crossover other than that.
It's a good planet they're on as well when it's the final scene.
It's like
towards the end. They're
so
fighting all the lava.
It's amazing. Like the world building of that is like all the little force fields. I always thought the world building of the prequels was amazing. And also the shit
the design.
The shit they say about the fucking. It's all just terrible CGI. There are so many like practical explosions in it. So many like real like little miniature sets that they've definitely built for the pod racing and shit. It's all like it's amazing. I don't know. I'm only like this. Combative about it because so many people hate it, and I just think they're just looking for something bad.
Yeah, well, it's a hard act to follow. It's not like it's any regular film. I think it's going to get criticism because it doesn't match up to the.
No, I think it's a different thing. I think it's. Yeah,
I think I really enjoy. I don't think they're films though. I think they're very well crafted products that I really enjoy.
Episodic adventures.
Yeah, I think they're. You know, George Lucas, I don't think is really he's a business genius.
Yeah,
on a level.
It's like the Marvel, like the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, isn't like I don't think they're films, are they?
No, they're not. It's like the most expensive TV series ever made.
They're not films.
I think it just grossed over 17 billion as well. You know, so they found this way of making movies.
But it is totally like that's the future. Like just make in terms of money, like because that's how you get the money.
I think so.
You keep them on a drip.
I think I don't know that. I think Star Wars is about to burst. I think Solo was. I think the movie was fine, but I think the box office is just like
the issue is like fucking Disney aren't in the business of losing money, are they? Like, they're not going to just keep losing money on.
They'll drop it if it is. Yeah, but I don't know why it wasn't released at Christmas.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love the surprise. Like, oh, when's the next Star Wars coming out? And it's coming out in. May
I think it's. I was watching this thing about the Disney slate for this year, and their big film at Christmas is the new Mary Poppins movie.
Yeah,
and they were.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, I know it's strange, right?
They
wanted to push Solo back because obviously everything got like reshot. They wanted to push it back, but it would be too much of a competitive market, and they'd be playing off each other, sort of thing. Because it's roughly that same family audience they're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's strange.
I think the thing I don't mind about like just they're not really filmed anymore. They're just like little adventures. And I don't really mind. Although this is because I'm like stupidly I love Star Wars
right.
an absurd amount, so I can't really be critical of it ever.
Right.
Whenever a Star Wars movie comes out, I'm just like, well, yeah, I'm going to see it. I'm going to really enjoy it. I can't have a conversation about it where we're trying to be critical because I'm just going to enjoy it.
Okay. It helps if you go and see it with someone that isn't necessarily that into Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, I liked it, but I thought this bit of it was shite.
Yeah.
I literally... maybe you're right, but I still don't care.
Yeah. No, exactly. And when people bring stuff up with that, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. That probably wasn't the best decision, but it really didn't matter to me. And I know it's a real weakness in my critical film debate.
No, it makes sense.
But yeah, that is
Revenge of the Sith.
That's
a good
I think, I was trying to pick a film I didn't like because I was thinking, like, there are definitely films I don't like that have made me who I am.
Yeah.
But this is sort of the closest I could go.
Without,
because I prefer talking about films I like. Cause
yeah. Absolutely.
You definitely like it.
Oh, no, I definitely like it. Yeah, no, this is the closest I go with, like, not...
The closer you go into absolutely loving it. Yeah. I hardly think that's, like...
No,
you haven't really put yourself out on
but it's not like I think objectively, like a lot of people would say, it's not a great film.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would suggest that most of the other ones that we've spoken about already are like objectively well crafted pieces of cinema.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's
the best lightsaber fight of all time.
Is that the one with fucking
like
Palpatine and Samuel L. Jackson?
That one's amazing.
You mean General Grievous?
Oh, General Grievous is also amazing.
He's got like 4
Also,
lightsabers.
it totally points to the fact that like you've got to have the Force. You can't just be a fucking robot with a lightsaber. Although when he coughs, it's really weird. It's like, what, a robot that coughs? Okay. It's like he's ill.
Do you know that's like I didn't know about this, but someone told me that General Grievous, the reason he coughs is there's an animated series which is kind of like, it's almost like hand-drawn animation. They're kind of 2D, and then in the very last episode, Mace Windu like shoots General Grievous
in the throat,
in the like heart,
in the heart bit,
which then makes like a bit of him collapse, which is why he
Shit, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, apparently that's why.
Cool.
That's really serialized though, right? Real like continuation of that vibe. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's a good pick. Sid?
My next one is With Nell and I, which I think I've just seen it more than any other film, and it's so quotable. And
FYI, I could have guessed all 3 of yours.
I know you could have. I think quite obvious. Even... Yeah, maybe the other one I think you'll get.
No, this was it. That was all. That's my whole...
That was your guess.
Oh no, you know what? I've got one more.
Okay, alright.
That I've just thought of, that I hadn't thought before.
Yeah, Minions.
Minions 3. There is
Minions 7.
Yeah. More Minions, more funny.
Just more Minions. I want a Minion saga. That'd be great. I love the Minions.
Yeah. I mean, the Minions make Despicable Me more funny. The more Minions they have, the funnier the film
more
is.
Minions. I just want Minions. I had a big Minion resistance when all the shite, it's like trashy shit memes coming out, and now I love them for it. Like,
I had a big Minion resistance.
I hate
That's
them.
what they're gonna write on your gravestone.
My Minion shed gravestone.
Minion resistor.
Yeah.
Minion convert.
Yeah. But when I first watched With Nell and I watched it when I was studying for my GCSEs, and I think I'd gone to visit my grandparents. They live in Cornwall near Plymouth, and I downloaded a load of films because the Wi-Fi was really bad there, and one of them was With Nell and I, and I watched it as if it was like a drama. So the first time I watched it,
weird.
I didn't laugh because like.
You were like,
it's actually quite depressing. Like,
right.
And I thought it was like a film that's kind of meant to be a bit serious, but through repeated watches and obviously I realised that it's not that. But at the time, I thought, how old are you when you're doing your GCSEs?
16.
15 or 16? Yeah, at the time I thought, oh, this is like a film that's just it was enjoyable.
Somber.
But then I think it's the film that I've most seen ever, I reckon. And also, like, I like it because there are people that you can watch it with, and it's a good time watching it. If you're watching Withnail and I with someone else that has watched Withnail and I a lot, you're already expecting all the lines to come up, and you know that Richard Griffiths is gonna just say stupid shit and say that someone's a terrible cunt and
and it is funny.
Recite the ridiculous poetry on the
and
hills.
also you're waiting for that. You're like literally oh yeah, here it comes.
Yeah,
it's gonna be funny.
And it's really well crafted. The music's great. It's actually really sad and depressing, but it's really funny. And I think that's like
getting that right is like awesome.
I think you can really something's really good. I think if you can watch it as like something that's very serious, you can watch it like I did and not laugh at the entire thing, or you can watch it with
I didn't realise that
with the expectation of it being funny, and you can laugh throughout it. And yeah, good film.
That's a good pick.
Big pick.
That's a good pick.
It's quite an obvious pick, I think, but like actually, as of all three of mine, as you said, but good. One of my favourites. I think it's just like Lord of the Rings. I'd watch it every year.
Right.
Also, it's really, really good to get drunk and watch. Like, not in like a crap drinking game way, but if you do with nail and wine, and if you get
just watching the film and drinking wine.
Yeah, a bottle of red wine or two each, and if you smoke like a load of fags, and just watch the film and get drunk because they're just hammered throughout the whole thing. So it makes
you feel like you're
better.
with them.
Yeah, if you finish watching With Ned and I and your teeth are purple,
you've done it well.
Yeah, you've done a good job.
Oh,
that's a good pick.
Nice.
That is a good pick. Jim, this is your last pick.
Yeah, my last pick. There's also a bit of Mean Girls.
Wow.
Nice.
I think it's like initially fucking really funny, awesome film that I've watched a lot, like countless times. Probably watch it like once or twice a year. It's just really funny. Also, it's like probably we keep going back as a kid and watching the first time. Probably when I was a kid, probably one of the first like almost exclusively all female cast I'd ever seen. Like, which as like a teenage boy, maybe teenage, don't know when I watched it, but young, I was like, all these females on the screen. This is interesting. It's totally like a thing that I have not been exposed to a lot just because of cinema. Just a film. And also it's like a kind of trashy coming of age high school film that's like quite meaningful and actually about stuff, as opposed to sort of like boy meets girl has crush on each other and then that's it.
Right.
And it's like a really simple novel thing of like someone is in a surrounding that you find really familiar, but they find it really alien. And I always found that really clever, that she finds everything really bizarre because she's not accustomed to something that you're really accustomed to, which is normally completely the other way around. It's normally like you're being introduced to an environment which you have no idea about, and you're being have this exposition where you're told about the world and what the rules are, but you're like going along with all the people who are teaching her about the world, and you're like, I could tell her all this stuff. This is like stuff that I know. And I always really enjoyed that, being like a part of the people who were teaching the protagonist about the world she was moving into.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Also, amazing like one-liners and quotable.
Yeah, it's really quotable.
It's so funny. The Caesar monologue that the Gretchen gives in the middle, it's like absolutely hilarious all the time. I find that really funny.
I think it's probably, maybe along with Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the best high school script ever written. Yeah. Like it's so tight and so well constructed. Tina Fey's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
Man. Like for real. I mean, it's and I kind of like that all of the main players have all kind of very successful afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan's kind of, I find Lindsay Lohan kind of like the story of her afterwards kind of sad more than anything else. Yeah. She's so fucking good in Mean Girls.
She's awesome. Like, you believe her the whole way through. You believe her when she doesn't know anything. You believe her when she's turning slowly into one of the plastics, quote unquote. And then you believe her when she has this whole like moment of clarity where she fucking cuts the thing up and gives it to everyone.
Yeah, she's so good in that. I mean, I just wish Lindsay Lohan the best. Every time I see that something is like nice has happened to her, I'm just that's so great. Yeah, because she's genuinely like very, very good in that movie. I think the first one I watched, I put off watching it for so long because it just sounds like such a like sucky movie. I was just
I've literally not even.
no way
I
I'm
couldn't-
watching Mean Girls.
Oh no, I thought you meant the second one. I
God.
couldn't bring myself. I still haven't brought myself to watch the second one.
No, I fuck that.
Also,
no,
the cyclical nature of it, where they literally they feel like they've reached this higher thing, and then they go like they see these other younger girls, and they're like, oh, they're always like new plastics. Or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh shit, yeah. I'm now slightly more grown up, but high school is always going to be this weird place where people don't really know who they are, and then they
Sure.
eventually, quote unquote, find themselves,
Sure.
Or like figure out that they're not these just a product of their surroundings. I don't know. It was just a nice thing where everyone like meshes together at the end.
Absolutely. It's a I mean, I think if you know about that movie, right? And I think most people are in the know.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have a hard time trying to convince most people to watch it.
But that's the other
Yeah,
thing. I think
you
that
know?
was the other
Unless
thing.
there's a whole group of people.
Yeah.
There's a room of people being like, yeah, let's watch it. I love that film.
Yeah.
Because
As a person that
it
hasn't seen
is
it.
kind of trashy. It is a bit trashy, but like it's fun. Like it's really fun.
And the comedy is not, I don't think, cheap either.
Sometimes
like,
it is a bit.
I-
It's a bit. That's what I mean. It's a bit like a bit.
I haven't
but,
watched it in a while, so
But
can't
I
really
still
say much.
really like. I really enjoy that aspect. I love trashy films though.
Cool.
I'm a real
That
sucker
makes
for. Yeah, it was really hard for me not to put like one of the Fast and Furious in here.
Oh wow.
I'm really surprised that hasn't
I
happened.
know. I nearly put Tokyo Drift in,
Wow.
which is probably the worst one.
I'm gonna say I'm
probably watched
glad that didn't happen.
But I've probably but it's probably the one I've watched the most because again, me and my brother had it on DVD.
That
We
is.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't,
Is
like,
there
it-
another one coming out this year?
There's
Or has
always
there been
another
another
one
always
coming
another
out.
one
There's
coming out,
always
and they
another
always
one
manage to
coming
up
out.
the ante. Always.
Yeah, what's going to be at the end? It's like,
They have to.
They have to go to
There's
space.
gonna be a
They have to
war.
go to space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They have to go to space.
And also, I think they probably just get younger and younger kids to write the script, like because
Right.
they just get like more and more mad. Because when like in number 5, there's like 8 of them now. In number 5, they drive cars off a plane and parachute them into a fucking train.
Yeah.
It's like that's in the 5th one. And
That
now we're in
could
the 8th. Now we're in the 8th one. It's like it's gone up
they're
every
sliding
time.
torpedoes across the ice.
The Rock throws a torpedo with his hands
Yeah, that's
into a fucking submarine. It's
wow.
amazing.
I mean, I think it's
obviously
become
it's
very much
terrible.
like the Rock's kind of thing as well, right?
Yeah, although The Rock has this whole new thing now, which I love.
Which what
The whole thing of him going into burning things, and
Skyscraper.
Oh,
saving
God.
stuff. I love all that. I love it so much. Him basically like being the savior of stuff.
I think the Rock's thing is right. He hasn't quite yet found because I think he'll be a genuine action icon the same way that Arnold Schwarzenegger
Yeah.
or Bruce Willis or etc. But he has not found the director that he collaborates with well
No.
enough. Like Tom Cruise collaborates with Christopher McQuarrie
Yeah.
and they do Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Well, it's like fucking what's his name? Jason Bourne.
Right, and Paul Greengrass.
Paul
right?
Greengrass,
right,
yeah.
right. They're,
Matt Damon and Paul Greengrass. They
Yeah.
absolutely they smash those films.
but he
Absolutely.
But he like.
But yeah, once
the-
that
the-
happens, The Rock is going to absolutely
Yeah.
kill it.
He does not. He does not yet have, and I think it actually might be something to do with him not wanting to relinquish control of it completely. Because I
No.
think he has quite a
quite
lot of
fresh.
control over a lot of the movies.
Yeah,
he
Also,
must
does.
do.
He always kind of plays Dwayne The Rock Johnson
Yeah.
in films. Like,
Right.
it's not like,
But he's only in those sorts of films, isn't he?
yeah.
But he is a genuine
But he's
hit
really-
when
But
they
he
really
nails
hit.
it. The thing is, though, like there are things that he does where it's like the best actors and actors that I can think of are like they could not do what he does because
Right.
like. I mean, maybe it's because of the way he looks, but there are people that maybe look similar to him, and I'm like, you probably couldn't convince me that you're this person.
Are you trying to say that Terry Crews can't do everything that Dwayne The Rock Johnson can?
No, he can't. He can't. Although,
Have you seen The Pacifier?
Oh god, yeah, that was not good. Although, have you guys
Shout out to
seen?
Terry
Have you guys
Crews, man.
seen Skyscraper?
No,
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Oh.
I can't. I just like. I mean,
Have you seen it? At the cinema?
It's fucking good.
You saw it in the cinema. What the fuck, man? I loved all the advertising that was just like I loved all the advertising that was just like, oh, it's like Die Hard but in a skyscraper.
In a building.
And
Yeah,
it's
but Die Hard is in a
Die Hard is
building!
a fucking building, you fucking morons. Like that is what fucking Die Hard is.
I think there's a thing where people say like it's like Die Hard in a building, but I think
Oh.
that's like the joke, isn't it? Because
God,
Die
it's
Hard's
so-
in a building.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah.
That's a yeah. So do you have one? I think you have one more.
Okay.
I got one more.
Is it some sort of Monty Python film.
Oh, so they're on my list, but I put.
Oh, come on!
So I have one film left, and I have 4 options.
Is it Life of Brian?
2 of those are Monty Python.
Yeah, I
films.
thought so.
So one of them's The Holy Grail, one of them's Life of Brian, one of them's Harry Potter: Prisoner of Azkaban,
Which is fucking awesome.
which is, in my opinion, the best Harry Potter film.
100%.
And one of them's School of Rock.
Yeah.
Which one would you rather talk about?
Let's talk about School of Rock.
Okay. You love School of Rock!
Let's talk about School of Rock, because I think School of Rock is like the I mean, I think it's probably the best kids movie ever made. I'm really serious. I think it's
Kids movie that isn't animated.
Yeah, that isn't animated.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it absolutely never talks down to anyone ever.
That's a really good point. Never really thought about that.
You know, it treats you absolutely.
Yeah, to be fair, when you're a kid, you're thinking like, I could do this. I'm a child.
Well, not then, but a few years down the line, after saying to my parents,
I want to learn an instrument.
I
like
want
every
to play
kid
drums.
does.
Like, I thought a drummer was cool.
I want to be
as fuck.
Freddie. His name's Freddie.
Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie.
Freddie Jones.
Handsome.
With the hair, yeah.
Handsome man.
He does a gut-busting drum solo in the credit sequence.
And he had the goggles.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
He puts them on his head, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just a great film. Yeah, like it tells kids that they can do what they want. Like
inclusivity, the whole thing. It's like you don't need to. I know there's a lot of weird stuff about like you don't need to get this weird job. him and his old friend or his I can't remember.
Ned.
Ned
Schneebly.
Ned Schneebly, but his partner basically doesn't like him doing all the shit that he does, and then he
fucking Sarah
and then
Silverman.
and then he goes and does it. Yeah. And he's basically like just chosen this really boring life. Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to be that, man. You follow the dream.
Yeah. it's really great. I think also it's you know, a lot nowadays there's a lot of stuff about, and I think rightly so, obviously, about kind of diversity in movies and diversity in mainstream movies.
The interesting thing, sorry.
I have to finish that point before I go.
Yeah, sorry,
diversity is a terrible thing. No, it's like, it's because from that statement it goes from here. No, I think it's one of the, you know, it's. I think this is just the way that Richard Linklater does stuff as well. One of the most like diverse kids films from the early 2000s ever, where like if you're like,
and you don't notice that when you're, and then you watch now and you're like, oh my god, that film was made like in 2002 or something, and it's like
absolutely,
fuck.
it's so diverse without it being like a fucking like a college campus like pamphlet. It just you know if
it's
you're
really interesting
if you're like
because
a young,
it's about like a private school, isn't it? Like
absolutely. It's like you know if you're a you know, if you're a kid that looks like anyone, you know, if you're kind of really skinny, if you're a little bit bigger, if you're a rich white posh kid, if you're a kind of a bigger black girl, if you're an Asian kid, there's everything. Like there is someone in that movie.
They're all in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But literally, it is like,
and also they're all fucking talented.
Yeah,
as well. Like
absolutely.
They're all like, you're like, oh shit, this person's awesome at doing the thing that they do.
I think ultimately it teaches you that like the thing that you're going to excel at is most likely not covered by your lessons at school.
Yeah.
So like giving music lessons and turning the class into a rock band is not something that the school do, but it gives the children this extra wind. And like it's the sort of thing that happens if you're good at sports. If you're good at sports at school, it's not a lesson, but you get this extra push and this extra motivation because people are telling you you're doing well. It's like there's that sort of thing, like an extra curricular activity like sports that you might play on a Saturday or a Sunday aside from school, that the school gives you verification in your skill at. Like the school says you're good at this, and I think having that positive message from a certain part of the school, even if it's not academic, really helps you to like just feel confident in yourself and believe that you can do stuff that you can do.
And maybe then you'll be better at all the other shit that you don't necessarily want to do. Like
absolutely.
You'll just feel better about it. Yeah, I think it's a super positive film. Good choice.
It's such a good choice. I mean, it's just like a movie about being happy, right? And why you should do what you want to be happy.
Yeah, especially when you're a kid.
Especially when you're a kid,
like,
absolutely. I mean, I think
I love the bit with the kids' parents.
Oh yeah,
that's like so good, and you hate them so much, and then you're like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, and there's so many subtle kind of like it's a really image strong film, right? There's so many clever things.
That's what I mean. It's inclusive as hell.
Yeah. Oh, it's like, it's like visually there are moments like when she's being the principal is being shouted at in the office, and then the parents being such dicks. She walks out and she puts herself in the corner. It's like that's such a clever thing. Yeah. Like just that she it's like you put a kid in the corner. Okay,
so
I'm
just
bad.
going to.
Yeah, it's so like I really love that movie, and the final song as well. I mean, obviously I loved the final song when I was younger, but not until recently did I really realize how kind of like emotional that song is when you realize it's written by Zach and it's about his relationship with his dad.
Yeah, and it's really traumatizing. It's like, wow, you've written this song, and he's God,
like Jack Black is the magic man that came to town, and it's really wonderful.
Proper goosebumpy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, it's a really wonderful movie. That is a good pick. Nice. So next question, which kind of will lead on nicely with that is who do you think the director is that will study in 50 years the same way we study like Kubrick and Hitchcock now?
Well, I've got like a hope and then what I reckon it'll be, and I kind of hope it'll be Richard Linklater. Because of a kind of like interesting hand that his films like it's like quite a diverse range of film, I think.
And then also like the whole thing that he does with keeping a cast. I think that is like a really specific thing that he does, and it is like, oh shit. Like there's no well, I'm not saying no one, but that's quite a well-known thing that he does.
Yeah, I think like my decisions influenced by how much I enjoy School of Rock and how impressed I am, and how much I guess enjoys, maybe it's not the wrong word, but the Before trilogy. Like it's a really nice.
You don't know if you can say enjoyed when it's when you feel so upset.
Yeah. And then also just the other strange like Scanner Darkly.
Absolutely. What's the other one?
There's also Slacker. Slacker is is a really brilliant film.
Awesome.
I love that. Like when I watched that, like it was one of those films that made me think about. You don't necessarily need a good story. Like it's like the structure of the film and almost like the formula that you apply to how you write it or how you film it is going to really influence like how the film is, and it's not all to do with some like mystical ability to be able to write this like crazy fantasy story. Like Slack is like a really interesting concept in what it is.
Yeah, because it's just, I mean, it's for anyone who hasn't seen Slacker, it basically starts with Richard Linklater in a car, and then he's sitting on a bus, and then he gets off and he walks past someone, and then we start to follow that person.
It's so
and the whole movie
clever.
is just like stitched together as people walking past each other, and then you follow that person that they've then just walked past. There's no like main characters.
Oh yeah, so have you seen? Bad storyline, but genuinely an interesting or thoughtful format. Unfriended. And there's a new one in the cinema at the moment.
I've seen the trailers for it.
The original Unfriended, I've seen it, and I watched it on my laptop in bed.
Right.
And fucking genuinely, I was so like taken by the format and by the way that the film was produced that I really didn't care that much about. I mean, like, I'm not really that into horror as like a kind of full stop. It has to be a really good like horror plot. Or characters or setup, some kind of setup that interests me or that I think is innovative for me to really be interested in a horror film. But just the format of it being within a desktop really took me. And I was watching it in bed. And
it's the whole film within the desktop.
The whole film is like you're watching a screen recording. And so the tension is built up by windows being behind windows and you're not necessarily being able to see certain things and people bringing up certain stuff and them typing messages to certain people who are there sharing it's basically like a six-way webcam conversation.
And someone joins that they don't know.
In the original, someone joins that they don't know. In the new one, I think they've got a new laptop.
It's all about the dark.
They steal a laptop, don't they?
They bought a second-hand laptop. Well, I don't know if it's stolen.
I think in the trailer at least it says that it was left in the cafe and then they took it.
Okay, so they've acquired a laptop, a used laptop, and it's basically got some interesting files on there.
Yeah.
Where and you can log into their Facebook and you can and then
The files are like people being
yeah
stuck in horrible places.
yeah and then horror begins. So that's
it's structurally it's kind of interesting. Conceptually, it's interesting, right? I mean,
but it's just generic horror bullshit.
I mean, the second one has something kind of interesting where in different theatres they play different endings. So there's two endings.
Oh, that's
great.
And there's two versions of the movie that have gone out.
No,
and it ends depending on which day you go on to which theatre, it ends differently, which is strange.
That's
right?
a really interesting idea.
I don't know. I mean, I also a few years before Unfriendly came out, I saw there's a short film just called Noah, which one of my favourite short films.
Yeah, I've seen Noah. We watched it in that class we did.
Oh shit!
It's fucking amazing. It's a Canadian film about if anyone hasn't seen it, it's on Vimeo. Go and watch it.
Well remembered, Jesus.
It's about a guy called Noah who's just talking on Facebook. It's all done on a desktop, the similar way of Unfriended.
It's just a short. I completely.
And then it kind of he really he darts around. It really gets that attention deficit
that's exactly
of
what
the
I'm
computer.
Talking about. That sort of I think
screen
it's
anxiety
of our generation. The idea of someone typing a message and kind of rethinking it and rejigging it for who they're sending it to, and then copying, pasting bits, and sort of browsing the internet.
It's really well, and he'll just and it's so clever how it works in music. It'll just he'll just play something on iTunes and then stop it immediately. It's so wonderful. And there's a moment in it where he goes on chat roulette and has this talk. It's a great movie, and it's only 17 minutes as well. And it flies by like a 2-minute Facebook video.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Would recommend.
But that's a million miles away from Richard Linklater.
Sorry, I distracted because I was talking about.
But I think it's just you're right.
Of a film
Conceptually,
make it.
I think even if it's a bad film, the framing or the formula that you play it through, will at least make it interesting. There's a fraction of it that's interesting, and Richard Linklater does it well because he has these formulas and he puts it through these formulas, and it's a good film as well.
Yeah.
Even though those formulas posterizing everyone in it, and but he's also got films like Dazed and Confused and School of Rock, which are they're coming of age. They're exciting to watch. You can watch them with a big range of people.
Although, have you seen there's a really weird one he's done, which is Dazed and Confused is 90s?
Yeah.
And so he's done the 80s
Everybody
one.
Wants Some.
Everybody Wants Some is not a good film. Have you seen it?
I disagree.
Really? You really like it?
I think it's...
I think it's kind of terrible.
I think it knows exactly what it is. I think he plays the pitch of it perfectly.
Okay, as long as you think it's on purpose, because otherwise it kind of ended and I was like, that's weird.
I think it's on purpose. I mean...
that film exists 100 times over. It's basically it's like a jockey group of guys hanging out and playing football,
and it's set within the first 40 or 72 hours before college starts. Right. So they move into a house
interesting.
together.
Agreed. I really like the idea that it's there's no actual school in it, and it's we meet before we start doing any of the actual school stuff. I like that, and that's why I watched it. I was like, Richard Linklater, this interesting idea, and then you watch it and it's kind of they're all just kind of just being weird about women and
But okay, so all of that stuff is kind of is hugely interesting because
I found it just strange.
There's stuff there's stuff in it about the there's lots written about the sexual politics of it and the gender politics and the female characters, and I think Richard Linklater has never ever had a problem writing women.
That's what I mean.
Ever.
It was.
So I
keep interrupting.
No, it's okay. I mean, and there is there's a moment where because they're all fucking chauvinistic guys, but there's a moment in it where the main character, his kind of love interest in it is this drama, a kind of drama girl, and I just thought she was wonderful. I thought she was a completely fully fledged character who had this whole life outside of what we're doing, and then I realised that we're seeing this movie as these guys. But also, there are so many shots of their bombs.
Yeah, but the issue... I was about to say...
not of the girls, of the guys. I think it's unintentionally one of the most homoerotic movies ever made. Or completely intentional.
Have they got good bums?
Oh yeah,
they're sportsmen.
Oh yeah, I mean they're like
really?
Yeah.
They're
like,
in peak physical.
the kind of
condition.
like the alpha male of the group wears a like fucking like Britney Spears crop top.
a
It's
lot.
so bizarre, but it's kind of.
But a lot of the
I
time,
really liked it.
But
I
they're
really
talking.
liked it.
But like the only reason they want to hang out with like the girls at the party is to have sex with them.
But
The
isn't that
only
just,
reason
like-
they go to the party.
But that's just like I think. But the thing is, I think that's just like I don't know. I think to
That's
me,
the reason you go to your.
That's why. Why do you think
Why do you think you're here?
No, I don't know. For me, it's.
It was just weird. I
I
really
mean,
wanted to watch it and really enjoy it, and I came away being like, I don't know what happened. I went in really wanting, and then halfway through, I was kind of like, this is not the film I thought it was going to be.
Huh,
But
okay.
I think he is always like a bit hit and miss, or he appeals
Yeah.
he appeals to different sorts of audiences, and like I think you can like one film and hate the next three, and like the other one.
Agreed.
And I think that's like a good thing, and it doesn't really like have to like it doesn't necessarily tailor his style to fit every audience all the time. Granted, there's definitely a few films like. I think if you like the Before trilogy, you also probably like Boyhood.
Right.
Yeah.
And if
There are some similarities.
yeah, and
But yeah, you like you say about the range.
yeah, and I guess like School of Rock and Girls Confused, they're not the same sort of film, but they're both a film you watch to kind of have like a good time.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Waking Life?
Yes, yeah,
Are you a fan of Waking Life?
yeah. I thought it was okay. I mean, like I don't know how much I enjoy the posterized.
I'm
the
not
cartoon type thing.
I don't know what it adds.
Okay.
Like-
interesting.
But I
the-
watched it because it was a cartoon made of actual. So it's not like a drawn cartoon
Yeah.
imagined. It's a cartoon based on real life, or based at least on the
Because we watched
images
Scan
caught by
and
the camera.
Scan and Darkly together, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was like, this is strange. Like,
Oh, I mean, it's a strange. I mean, especially in the first scene where, like, you know, the bugs are crawling
The
up the
bugs!
guy after.
The
That is
bugs!
fucking fucked,
that's
right?
really weird.
Yeah.
The bugs freak me out.
It's. I mean,
Waking Life is the one that's like kind of he talked to his like therapist a lot, and he talks.
Waking like that. It's just a guy who's stuck in a dream, and yeah, he's.
Does he go and talk to people for like a lot? There's like really long, obviously, but there's long cutscenes, which is quite like a common thing.
Right.
Like there's long scenes, but like I remember. So potentially I'm confusing them because they both are like cartoony. But
Sure.
He's kind of just going around talking to
Yeah.
people. He's kind of stuck in this world.
Yeah.
And there's not that much going on, but
No.
he's just talking to people and about like a variety of subjects. Some of them are quite like philosophy
Philosophy
deep.
based.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think the concept is basically just the character is, and it's the guy who plays Mitch from Days of Confused, the actor, which is nice. He is just stuck in a dream and he can't wake up. So he's wandering around talking to people the whole time, having these different conversations.
Yeah.
Some of them hugely philosophical, some of them not. I mean, Alex Jones is in that movie. Do you know?
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Also, yeah, he is.
Infowars Alex Jones.
At Infowars Alex Jones.
Has he got a load of gay frogs with him?
talk like this?
No, he literally. So he is. It's really strange. He is
3,000 cigarettes a day, Alex Jones.
He's from Austin, and Richard Linklater and his friends just thought this like crazy conspiracy theorist is really funny. So he's like, he
Weird.
came in and auditioned for Waking Life, and he's like, yeah, I can put you in my movie.
Cool.
Weird.
Yeah, and back then, Richard Linklater's like spoken about it recently. He's like, the idea of this guy talking to the president back then to us would have been so funny that we wouldn't have believed you. Because
Yeah.
he was just like this small town radio host from Austin who was thought 9/11 was done by George Bush, and it really
All the classics.
really interesting. All the
And
classics.
sold pills to his followers.
Yeah. So Richard Linklater, that's a
That was actually my realistic choice.
Yes. Oh, my unrealistic choice. Well, no. Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was my I reckon. Well, that was my hopeful realistic. I've also got a hopeful that probably isn't going to happen.
That Richard Linklater was my hopeful, and my expected was we don't have to talk about. Well, Christopher Nolan, that's what I expected.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Not that I
not that it's bad.
Just
But
I feel like it follows
Yeah.
the directors that you listed in the title. I think like
you feel like Stanley Kubrick, Hitchcock, Christopher Nolan.
yeah.
It rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. That makes. I mean, there's not really much to say about that.
No.
No, that's why I didn't want to. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's
I hope it's Richard Linklater. But I expect it will be somebody like
David Lynch. Those sorts of like big names who make
that's
loads
true.
of
Didn't
films.
even think about David Lynch.
Yeah.
I think David Lynch is one of them. He's one of them filmmakers which, in a way, I don't. I mean, he's always going to be talked about for films, but I think he transcends the medium in a way.
Yeah, people stop thinking about it being like, oh, it's not cinema. So people stop thinking about like narrative film.
Yeah, I mean, I think like he's so influential to just like so many artists.
Yeah.
Like you know, like lots of artists like him of all different mediums.
Because I think it's because when people talk, they don't think about him, like I've just said, don't think about him being like making narrative cinema.
Right.
Um,
I think
yeah.
because he hops around so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Also, he panders less to like, the sort of the general lifeline of a director, which I think Christopher Nolan does.
Yeah.
Which is like
He's got his war films, he's got his horror films, he's got his superheroes.
yeah.
He's got
sci-fi
he ticks
film.
all the boxes.
Yeah.
What's the best Christopher Nolan film?
That's a fucking shout. Jesus. I really find it hard not to say Inception because I really love Inception, but I know it's so obvious. Also, Batman.
I love the Dark Knight. I love the Prestige.
Love Dark Knight.
I love
But if you have
Memento.
to say one,
I have to say, we've just said lots.
But I
if
think
you have to pinpoint one,
But I think there's films I've watched a lot, and there's films that I might have only seen once or twice.
Probably Memento is probably my favourite.
That's what I'd say, but I've probably only seen that, I reckon, twice, whereas I've seen the Batman films so many times, and probably Inception quite like a big handful of times.
No, you know what? I've probably... Oh, fuck, I don't know. But yeah, I think Memento wins for my favourite, probably.
Yeah, I think Memento's interesting, especially because it's very early on in his career. I don't know what he else did before. He had a film called Following.
Follow Him.
Yeah, Following was good.
I don't know. It's strange because I'm not really a huge.
You're not a fan?
Christopher Nolan. I'm not a fan, but
Sorry, I
mean,
felt like I was like really offended there. I don't like really love Christopher Nolan. I always expect people to like him.
I'm aware it's like hugely unpopular opinion. I think he makes good movies.
Yeah.
I think he's a very I think completely opposed to Richard Linklater. I think Christopher Nolan is a very small C conservative filmmaker, and occasionally big C conservative filmmaker.
Is it?
Yeah, where I think Richard Linklater is like the opposite. So I think, and I'm always very aware of the politics of his movies. Maybe wrongly so, and maybe I shouldn't even think about that.
I think the reason I love Christopher Nolan movies is because they're about like movies. It's because they're about films, I'm like kind of a bit of a sucker for like super meta films that are about films. So I'm like, look, that's really fun because that's about this.
I'd like going into it. If I was to watch a new one, I'd like going into it thinking like, whatever's happening at the end or whatever it goes on, it's not really what I'm going to expect. Like, it's kind of beyond my realms of prediction ability.
Agreed.
That's a good pick.
My hopeful is Lynn Ramsey.
Ooh, okay.
I really like the idea that because they're like, need to talk about Kevin.
You were never really
here. Have you ever seen Swimmer? I think it's called Swimmer. It's like a really weird short film. Ratcatcher.
Right.
And they're like really awesome, really weird things that are basically just like, I feel like doing this. And I think they're always really well received.
Yeah.
And they're definitely like every little detail is always considered. Nothing is done by accident.
Yeah.
And the use of non-professional actors, I think, is amazing. Where she basically goes to the places where she wants. Well, she's filming about a swimming pool. She goes to a swimming pool and like hires people who go to the swimming pool, or like a car park. She hires like kids who are at the car to make sure. Like, I think there's a really good. Well, I've watched a YouTube video where she's talking about like why she uses them. It's like, well, because really the reason you get actors to be actors is because you're trying to make them be the people who belong in these places. So why don't you just get the people who belong?
Right.
Which is, I thought was really awesome.
Yeah, she's. I think as well, maybe more than anyone working, she understands sound and picture working together.
Absolutely.
Right. Like she edits with a mixing desk.
The difference in like the way that the people are talking and the disconnect between sometimes the lines they're saying and the lines that are being heard are so awesome, and it just changes the way you're watching the film.
And she fully embraces as well her abstract nature, and she trusts things like it's not really a spoiler for You Never Really Here, because I would never spoil that movie, because I think it's the best film this year by like a long fucking way.
So good.
There's a moment, and I actually asked her on a Reddit AMA this question.
Is it?
Yeah, I was like, I said, how do you know that these abstract moments are going to work? Because there's a moment in You Were Never Really Here where you hear counting down from 30 as a voiceover.
It's right at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like where all of the. I'm talking about the moment. I don't want to spoil where the moment is, but
it is also right at the beginning.
It's but like the moment where you hear a female voice counting down from 30, and then all the other action is going on within the scene, and then it goes 2, and then within the scene happening, the girl just turns and says 1 out loud, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck? And it creates this such like. It's like it's pure cinema that you can't put into words, and you'd be doing a bad Google Translate if you tried to put it in words, because it's such a transcendent experience. I mean, I think it's right. I think people who know will talk about.
But I don't think it'll be quite as. That's why it's a hopeful, because it's like the films are mad, but whether or not it'll be.
Yeah, and they're not as seen as like seen as like Linklater, right?
No, exactly. They're not.
And she makes it when she really wants to make it. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's a good bit. I think that's also a good point to go nicely onto the next question, which is
best film.
What's the best film of the 21st century
question.
So far?
It's so hard,
mean.
isn't it?
It's so mean because you think about it.
Also the idea of I think what I ended up doing is going like, the best film doesn't mean my favourite film.
Yeah, it's true. Best film of the 21st century so far.
I might let Jim go first.
You can let me go first.
Because I'm still not really sure. I've got something in my notes.
Can I pick 2 again? One that's probably the best film, one that's...
I'm gonna contain it to 1.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Can I just have your other one?
Just rules. I'm gonna go with Moonlight.
Okay. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
Well, already, like, initially it's just like amazing attention to detail. Everything's really purposeful. Like, the structure is awesome. Like how your life changes over this time. Also, like, massively culturally significant. Yeah, I don't know how.
And for anyone that hasn't seen Moonlight, why should they see it?
Oh God. Well, I think you should see it for the way the story's told. I know, like, the idea of a 3-act structure is all about cinema, but everything down to like the names of the chapters is absolutely considered. Like the Little, so the first chapter's called Little, and it's this because the kid's small and the name is used like a negative thing. People call him Little, and then it's his actual name, Chiron.
Yeah.
And that's like that's him. He's kind of discovering who he is, and then it's Black, this like gangster facade that he puts on to like get rid of that middle person that he was and that he became, and then he was like, nah, gotta get rid of that because that wasn't, I don't want to be that person. And so it's like this weird sandwich. And also the casting of the actors is amazing. Because it's like they have different actors for different ages in his life. And supposedly I listened to where they say they chose the middle one first, and then they chose the 2 either side. It's like a really interesting way of doing it. Yeah, and the way there's loads of amazing conversations that they have in it, and there's stuff like water, which is obviously a massive thing, and the idea of the moonlight is basically you're yourself in the moonlight. So whenever there's like a scene at night or when there's a scene in a moon, they're like, it's the most authentic version of the main character Chiron, is when like he's being himself, and it's like there's so many just amazing clever moments like that. Yeah, and I just, when I watched it, I was like, that is incredible. Really awesome film. Yeah. Really like well made. Really good like characters you really believe in. And probably like and super significant, and a story that I'd probably never seen before on cinema. Never. And probably one that exists all the time that doesn't get told enough.
That is a good pick. Sid, what's the best film of the 21st century so far?
Well, I feel like mine is a bit of a cop-out. Because I find it like a really hard question to answer because I'm not really that into like bests or favourites.
That's fair enough.
So, out of interest, what was your second one? We don't have to talk about it.
My second one was The Place Beyond the Pines.
Okay.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Is it Eva Mendes?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually almost a recurrence of a previous answer of mine. I've gone for Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Purely because it represents an end to a trilogy of films which I think are great. They're just brilliant.
Yeah.
I think those sorts of films they bring a lot of people into the world of fantasy that wouldn't ordinarily be there. People that might just simply watch action films, or people that might not really watch films at all, or think about the fact, or people that might laugh at the fact that there are elves and dwarves,
right,
and think about it as tied to being something like Dungeons and Dragons or laughing.
Brings a lot of people together, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that was the film that I could think of. I don't even think it's the best Lord of the Rings film. And I could probably think of films I enjoy more. But when I'm being pressed for the best film of the 21st century, what Return of the King kind of represents is the end of, because also it was the film, because they didn't give the other films any awards. Because they knew it was going to win so many awards that they just left it until the last one.
Left to the end.
It's strange that it's that, because in terms of if Oscars are anything to go by in terms of how good a film is, Return of the King is the best film ever because it won
so many awards.
It was nominated for 11 Oscars and it won all of them.
11,
yeah, which is the most ever.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I think I think it's a very, very good case to make for the best film of the 21st century so far.
I don't think the film in itself is the best film, but almost a symbol of it finishing the trilogy. And also that finishing being recognised by the Academy as well.
Yeah. But I think that's why the best is an interesting question as opposed to a favourite, because it means that it's you have to take into account all these other bits as well as your own opinion. But so I think it's interesting.
That's a very good pick. I guess we should move on to question 4, which I feel like we've covered 5 times over, all with different trilogies.
Yeah.
But so maybe this is kind of a quick one, but what is the best trilogy of all time?
Toy Story.
I couldn't forgive myself if I said the original Star Wars, if I didn't say the original Star Wars, but I've got original Star Wars / Toy Story. But if I didn't say the original Star Wars, I'd just be I'm not say the original.
What I mean
Star
by that
Wars.
is we kind of have talked about what I think are all the best trilogies of all time, which are Toy Story, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and the Before trilogy.
Well, that was on my list.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I picked Toy Story because the Before trilogy isn't necessarily accessible to everyone.
It's true.
I think Toy Story is more accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's fucking great.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it just being something that you can watch with a toddler and your grandma. Yeah. But also I could watch it with a room full of strangers, and even just watching a film and not even talking, it's more of it binds you together more than I reckon any other films.
Yeah.
Individually as well. I think it's weaker on the third one, but a lot of them are. Yeah. Except maybe Star Wars.
Yeah, except Star Wars.
What do you mean?
The original ones, I think, is probably the best.
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Huh.
No.
The original ones.
The original Empire Strikes Back is the best one.
Right. Obviously.
Just has to be, I don't know, it's just the best one, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah.
I think there's no more to say on them.
Covered. Checked.
What's your favourite use of music ever within a film?
Ooh.
So I think this can, there is no narrowing this down. This can be a soundtrack moment, a moment in the score. This can be anything, music and picture working together, because that is what cinema is, music and picture working
I always
together.
find that I'm a real sucker for diegetic. The sound which is in the... diegetic sound which is in the film, which is then like becomes a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So the first one I thought of was Wayne's World, when they do the...
I've got that on my list too.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Because it's like fucking hilarious. It's so funny.
And there's no point when you're watching that with people that you don't like
Bohemian
just
Rhapsody,
bang your head.
No,
like,
it's just awesome.
it's a song that also sets the scene so well for the film.
Yeah.
Because like it's not a particularly cool song. Like
No.
it's a great song, but
everyone
like,
knows.
Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
But they love it so much it like exemplifies their goofiness. And also the fact that they love it so much and they're not particularly, they kind of have the impression that they're people that are a bit snobby about music, but the fact that they love Bohemian Rhapsody so much is like an example that they're like willing to be themselves around anyone. Like even they're not like holding any like
the Murphmobile.
I have to like I have to sort of like play an act to like say It sets the scene for the whole film and it's great.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm glad you said that because I couldn't decide between two. And you have another one, don't you?
Well, there's two. All the rest of them are just too. There's too many. That was my. Also, it's light. It's the lightest one. My other ones are like Lou Reed, Trainspotting, Perfect Day, and Hip to Be Square, Huey Lewis, The News, and American Psycho.
Wow.
Do you like Huey Lewis in The News?
No, but that like, it's just grim, isn't it?
You've got a nail gun. Is it that scene?
Why are there copies of the Times all over the floor? It's like, is that a raincoat? It's just fucking grim. Rise of the Valkyries from Apocalypse Now.
Obviously.
That's good. Yeah.
One of the most inspired choices of all time.
Yeah, amazing.
I think Apocalypse Now is probably the best American movie ever made. So
so good.
Yeah, that's good. So what was
also it's a good book. Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness.
Joseph Conrad. Yeah.
In my bag right now I have the making of documentary of Apocalypse Now, which I've never seen, which is called Hearts of Darkness.
Yeah. Have you read Heart of Darkness?
No, I haven't.
It's it's really good. I know that like obviously I don't need to say that, but like it really is like a really really good, and like the way it's written, you could read it so slowly and like it's not very long. I think it's probably like 110 pages long, but you can read it incredibly. You could spend like a few weeks reading it and like really really like it's very like how Joseph Conrad describes stuff is really interesting and really good.
Okay, I will definitely read the book.
But something I didn't know when I started reading it was that it was because I'd seen Apocalypse Now and I didn't know that Apocalypse Now was Heart of Darkness or
that's good.
spun from it. But I've got the one that I want to talk about, and I got an honourable mention. Honourable mention is Roy Orbison in Dreams from Blue Velvet.
Yeah, killer.
And the one that I really think is great is that it's great. Like it's so good. It's such a crazy scene. But that for me that was trumped by the introduction to Watchmen, which is Times They Are Changing by Bob Dylan. And that combined with the tying to the film and the way it's made is brilliant because they've inserted these superheroes into actual footage and it's like details. It's a brilliant way to set the scene and set the scene also when the film's set and also set the scene of like what's going on and how the world are reacting to those superheroes. And yeah, it's really cool. I like that like the song it's a very like song that's very political and based on real events, and I like that it's being used also for like fictional politics. I think that's like an interesting way to reuse heavily political songs later on down the line because obviously like the actual song is really really like heavily laden with the time that it's made in. But if you're creating an alternative message for the time that it's made in and then inserting a song over the top of it or in tandem with it that it's like it's equally complementary. Complementary. Well, it's a really good choice.
It makes sense.
Consistent.
Yeah, I think Zack Snyder is hugely abused by the media for no reason at all. I think he's a really I think he makes really interesting choices like that. You know, like I think I've never read the comic of Watchmen or anything, but I think that movie is hugely interesting.
Oh, the movie's great. I love the movie's fantastic, and I feel like it's a blueprint not a blueprint, but like. At least a direction that more should follow.
Yeah, because they're really like they're slacking on that side of
on the actually being interesting.
Yeah.
Unless it's like I don't know. I find Deadpool quite interesting.
Yeah,
and I like Logan. So that's great.
But
Logan
especially
great.
the DC
really good.
peeps. They're like. Yeah, they're making the bad films.
But okay, this is interesting because I think maybe this is.
Are you one of those people? You a Batman versus Superman apologist? Are you one of those people? They
I'm
were trying to make a good film.
I'm not an apologist. I think it's
they were
interesting
trying to make a good film.
More interesting than 95% of blockbusters that get made now.
Yeah.
I'm really serious.
No, I totally agree with the point of it being they tried to make a good film.
Well, I mean, it's because it's so indicative of time, of the state of cinema.
It is awful, though.
I mean...
Batman vs Superman. Yeah. I had a good time, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but... it's bad, though.
Yeah, it's
I agree, but I also completely disagree. I think it's not good, but there's something about it which is so characterful compared to things which are made by committee. Which I really enjoy. You know, I agree with that. It's the fact that it can be bad is I really like. And maybe that's a really dumbass thing to say, but the fact that it's really it's enough of a person's vision that's not made by committee to make money.
It's kind of like like all the Matrix sequels. They're like they really tried to make a good film.
Right.
Like it was like there's definitely a vision there. Wachowski's had the thing they wanted to do, and I mean they kind of messed it up, but
the second one's alright.
Was
that Revelations,
moments, right?
Is it or?
I mean, they're kind of
Reloaded.
Is that the second one?
Revolutions, but but they are like they're highly inferior to the first one, obviously. But
that makes sense.
Yeah, sorry.
They're good musical picks. Bit of a change of pace now, and I thought about the best way to try and word this question, but when you were younger, who is the character that you had a sweet spot for? And when I say sweet spot...
Character.
The character.
I was confused by the word sweet spot. Not confused, but I didn't know how I should... Whether it's a character that I sympathise with and think it's myself, or a character that I might have had a crush on.
That's really interesting. I totally didn't think about that.
But when I listened to the previous episode...
Yes.
I have based my answer based on the question that you asked in that one, which was, who did you have a crush on?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I have to say Hermione Granger.
That's exactly what I had. Which one, though? From
which one?
Which episode did the crush develop? Because it's like Goblet of Fire is exactly I totally know that's when it was.
Oh, you see, I know, for me, I'm pretty sure it was Prison of Azkaban.
Prison of Azkaban, because that's the best film.
Bearing in mind that we are both younger than her when that happened.
Yeah, not now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an important bit to say, thing to state, that it's really about back then when you were younger.
Also, definitely Ferris's girlfriend from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, absolutely.
Mia Sarah, whatever. I can't remember her name. She's in Time Cop, isn't she?
Yeah.
Also, Almost Famous, Kate Hudson's character in Almost Famous.
Penny Lane.
During the film. But then once the film was over, I was like, nope, not anymore. She's strange.
How big is your list?
No, it's just like the things I'm thinking of right now.
It's a list of Google images.
Definitely.
Isn't in that folder on your desktop.
Cool car pics.
Hermione Granger is an interesting one. I think it's probably
just because we grew up right there, isn't it?
I think it's about the time of I don't know.
It's the adolescence,
If-
isn't it? You're
if
right
you're
there
like-
and you're growing up with them.
Yeah, you're probably at the age of like 10 to 14. You're probably having like definitely like more of a sexual awakening than you're having in other stages of your life. So
Right.
like you're kind of noticing that like you like all these people, and which is why I feel like, because there are obviously people that are in films now that I, you know, like they especially when they're in films, they look great.
Yeah.
But I never like, when you're younger and you're having this sort of like puberty thing, and you're noticing people around you, you're noticing people in films, and like I feel like it had to be someone from then, because that's really the time that you're fucking thick enough to like believe that like
They're real.
potentially it might happen.
Also, that they have that their character is in any way indicative of them as a human being.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they are just a fictional creation. Like,
Yeah.
any feelings you have towards them are completely based on their character in the film.
If
like.
it was, if the question was non-sexual, like, or non-attractive based, and more of like a sweet spot being like there's a sympathy based on like a correlation of character types.
Yeah.
I'd probably say also Harry Potter. I'd probably say Ron Weasley.
Right.
Because Harry's a dick. And
so selfish.
and I don't, for me, like that going, so the Harry Potter kids going through school, and then and also all you guys, both of you guys going through school at the same time. I feel like it's very hard to detract from you comparing your own life to them, because I just, you waited for that letter to come from Hogwarts.
Absolutely.
Didn't fucking come. There was always that potential. It was a documentary.
Right.
Fun story. I totally thought the Star Wars was a documentary when I was a kid, and I asked my parents how they do it, and they explained to me.
But you thought Star Wars.
So when I was a small child, not a documentary, but I thought it was just real, like anything else on TV was real, like the news. And so I asked my parents, like, well, how do they do like the Force? How do they do it? I want to do that. And they explained to me.
They're washing up.
They explained to me like the visual effects. They explained to me like the green screen stuff, and I was like, what? It's not real. Like it's not like. What? It's not. They can't do it.
I thought Lord of the Rings was real, because I remember.
I mean, I was probably like 5 years old, but.
Right. I when I saw I actually did see, now that you jog my memory, I did see the first Lord of the Rings in the cinema. And the reason I thought it was real is because I was a little bit freaked out by it when I saw it, because I was probably a bit like too young to really watch the ring race and everything.
That big fight scene.
Yeah.
Also, the big Uruk-hai guy.
Yeah, it's
I
really,
hate that guy. He's scary as fuck.
It's really fucking scary. But I always remember I asked the woman who was on the desk of the cinema as we walked out, and it's kind of, it's kind of late, and I was kind of, I was the small person in the crowd, and she was like, yeah, it's a very old tale. When I was that age, what I implied was, it happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
but,
great.
But what she was implying was, the story has been about since forever, because J.R. Tolkien wrote it years and years ago.
That's much more like reasonable than mine. Like, it's so not real. They kind of could have done that. Yeah, no. But yeah,
there's some good picks. I think Hermione Granger is like, Emma Watson knows that she's been fancied when she was younger by like every boy in the whole country. So it's a really, it's a very relatable pick. I think it's a good one. It's not Leviosa, it's Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Swish and flick.
Swish and flick. Question 7. What's the best Netflix original? And this can
Should we say on 3?
This can be a series or a film, whatever you're thinking about.
Should we say? Do you want to do it on 3?
3, 2, 1.
BoJack
Horseman.
Oh shit! Well, no way.
Definitely. Gotta be BoJack.
Yeah.
Talking about BoJack Horseman.
BoJack, almost like similar to With Nell and I think you can not that you would, because the indications, the fact that it's a cartoon is to watch it in a funny way, but it's like.
But that's the best bit.
Yeah,
it reels you in, thinking like, "Oh, I'm just a cartoon. I'm just gonna play all fun and be about the kids and stuff."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "This is fucking depressing," and it's really meaningful and about proper life things.
Yeah,
and it really gets to you.
It makes you really care just about these drawn characters.
Yeah,
and
I love the way that vehicle like brings with it like such a big emotional punch.
Yeah, and also, it's also like you can view it and you can be like, yeah, it's really, really good to like go out and get drunk all the time and to like have this life where you're like a party person, but like ultimately when like that stops or like and when you're left without nobody else in your house, you're probably quite miserable.
Yeah.
And you just kind of like hide
Empty.
in that like
it's all a facade, and you're like, yeah, it's really hard hitting.
Well, I think it's great to have because there's been quite a few shows that have done it recently, but have a show that's about depression and like struggling with alcoholism. Like, I don't know if you've seen Flowers, which is a Channel 4 program, which is one of the best British comedies that I think I've watched in the last few years.
Did it have Olivia Colman in it?
Yeah, so it's Olivia Colman and Julia Barrett, and they're like a dysfunctional family. It's written by a guy called Will Sharp, who also plays a character in it, and he also writes the music for it too. But it's a show. It's a comedy, a weird comedy, like a kind of like a weird British comedy that's like very much it's about family and like depression and dealing with suicide, but it's also funny and dark and but it's potentially less as like extreme or like or maybe BoJack talks about that sort of stuff in a broader sense or a sense that like it's more like, you know, you can be led to feeling like this through various things and also people can be hiding it and still be feeling it underneath. But like Flowers is like quite obviously about a family whose dad is dealing with depression, and series 2 has just come out in June. It's all on 4OD and it's brilliant, and like if you're listening, everyone should watch it. It's really, really good. Like did somehow I just say hey Siri during that?
Yeah.
Oh, so my Siri just went off and somehow during that I said hey Siri.
But yeah, I think in a similar way to Rick and Morty. Well, if you think about the Rick and Morty episode, I think it's called Autoerotica Assimilation, one with Unity, and like the end. The end of that episode where Rick comes back and he's like incredibly depressed and like tries to kill himself is like the whole that like 4-minute section of Rick and Morty is like the whole of BoJack Horseman in like the second season, and it's like just I think in the first, not really a particularly big spoiler, but I think it's the first episode of the second season is someone trying to get BoJack Horseman to say a line. He's like BoJack Horseman is a horse who is an actor.
Yeah, he was in it's all an anthropomorphic world, and there are kind of, you know, humans and animals live beside each other, and the animals are kind of, you know, humanistic.
Yeah, and BoJack Horseman is a celebrity actor who is kind of like was in this one show called Horsing Around, and then he's kind of like
washed up. And
he's like a typical like washed up Hollywood actor.
Kind of like people who were in Friends. They did one thing.
Whoa,
that
makes it too real. Please don't say that again.
Exactly.
Don't say that.
It's shit like that.
You're going to say that he's like Matthew Perry. Because Matthew Perry was in 17 again, and it was great.
Oh, God. So it's like that, and so in the first episode of the second season, he's trying to say this line, and someone's encouraging him or saying something how he should say it, and the whole episode is why he can't say this line that goes all the way back to his childhood, and it's like, and then it jumps back to present day at the end of the episode, and you're like, I'm literally getting goosebumps talking about it right now, and I'm like, and it's just so hard hitting, and just like, oh fuck. His whole life is led up to this one thing that means he can't say this line, and it's really amazing.
I think other than like maybe some anime series, it's like the series that most goes into like the character of the person and their backstory and like why they're feeling that way in the world, and why certain things are gonna like affect them more than other things, or like why they react differently to stuff more than other characters in the show, and like you can't help but see parts of yourself in BoJack Horseman, because like he kind of like really like sadly embodies like most of the things that are like people see as issues with themselves. Like he's anxious, he fucks up, he does bad shit, he's a piece of shit, or at least he sees himself as a piece of shit. He doesn't do the right thing at the right time and he realizes it's too late.
There's a whole episode where there's like a big internal dialogue with himself, and it's
oh, that one's awful.
that made me cry. That episode, I was like in bits at the end. It was it was just terrible.
Yeah, when he's rebuilding that house and it's
God, I can't talk about it. I'm genuine. I'm like actually like have tears in my. It's so fucking horrible.
It's really. I mean, I think as with all that kind of that emotion that it you feel with it. It's also just hands down one of the most beautiful, inventive cartoons of like forever. Just in terms of like there's an episode where you're in the mind of a woman with Alzheimer's. And it's genuinely terrifying. Some of the kind of the people don't have faces, and the way it's like a fire, the way it like burns in and out of scenarios, and sometimes the characters are kind of distorted and they have scribbles. It
feels
over
like something like Black Mirror would do, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like this is a chip that I put in your head that makes you feel like you've got Alzheimer's or something like that.
Right. It's there's a whole episode where it's underwater. It's set in an underwater world because you have the endless no limitations of.
And I really love that they don't care about that. They don't go like, oh, so we've set up these limitations and therefore we need to restrict. And they're just like, well, it's fine. It's fine to be.
Rabbits can live underwater.
And that's what we do now. Yeah. Like I think they really run with that.
The underwater silent episode is. I mean, some of the best visual storytelling in any medium, across film, television.
The underwater episode is all silent because they don't.
Yeah,
and also like
so
through
clever.
the episode he like acquires a child somehow and like struggles to deal with it while he's doing the rest of his life and just like it's really really fucking sad.
It's really sad. I mean the I want to spoil nothing, but there's an episode towards the end of season 2 which is. Wow. I mean, you think they're not you think they're not going to go there, and they fucking go there, and it's like, I mean, it's almost because it's animation, you can get away with dealing with these kind of darker things, but I mean, I don't know how you still like BoJack after he does this.
Yeah, because you really like as a character, you don't like him.
No, but in a way, like what Sid said, you kind of like you see yourself so much in him.
But I think it's like because they are the protagonist, you can't not see yourself either doing that or not doing that.
Yeah.
Either way, you're like reacting to his choices in his life.
Yeah.
Based on like your experience of your own life and how you might deal with a situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you deal with it differently, you're still thinking through the eyes of BoJack, and BoJack's a fucking prick. But you also you kind of like think that he kind of tries to mean to do well, but he's just selfish and bad.
He's had too much shit happen in his life, or it's just
and that's the bit. They kind of you are taught to hate him. You're taught to think that he's a piece of shit, and then they explain all what's happened to him and how terrible his life has kind of been. And then you're like, oh god, you feel kind of sorry for him. And then you're really in yourself. You're really conflicted. The idea that you've basically been taught to think that he is not a good person, and then you've been like, oh, but by the way, all this terrible stuff happened to him when he was young, and then it's like. Oh god, and then you're like, I can't blame him for that. But then he's like, oh, but he is a terrible person to all these people.
Yeah.
And then it's like, when do you stop blaming the past on your current actions? Because he's like an old horse at this point, and all this stuff happened to him when he was a real child.
He's definitely like about
you've got to, at some point
50s,
you've got to take responsibility for you being a fucking horrible person to all your supposed friends.
I mean, and on them friends, it's like it is a great supporting cast, isn't it? Like fucking. Well, the characters around him, Princess Carolyn.
Princess Carolyn, so good.
Who's Alison Brie's character called? The reporter.
Diane.
Diane is great. Mr. Peanut Butter. It's just like it's a really wonderful like full cast. Aaron Paul's in there as Todd, who again incredibly like fully realized interesting character.
Yeah, great. Todd's great.
It's a really great show.
They all have their own own storylines. That's a really good point, and they're all really interesting in their own right. And sometimes BoJack isn't in an episode, and you don't even miss him.
Yeah.
Like it's just they go down their own routes. And
could I say as like an honourable mention to this category, and hopefully only excluded because it's only one season in, but Big Mouth.
Oh yeah, Big
as
Mouth.
another cartoon which is
Solid.
brilliant, and the first series was fantastic and really really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's only one season in. It's not as proved as itself as like BoJack.
Yeah,
so like it depends how it goes. But like that was a brilliant series.
Yeah,
I've
agreed.
not seen Big Mouth yet.
Would recommend.
Oh, definitely.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Is it by? It's not Seth MacFarlane, is it?
No, it's oh shit.
It's also not Simpsons creator, is it?
No,
Because he has another.
He's got
one
another one.
soon.
It's on Netflix. I watched the first episode
Oh
today.
really?
What is it?
Disenchantment.
Disenchantment or something?
Disenchantment. Yeah.
What, Matt Groening?
Yep. Matt Groening.
No way.
Yeah, boy.
It's kind of about a princess. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
about a princess.
When is The Simpsons going to be on Netflix?
Nick Kroll.
Oh yeah, and he does the voice of the
He
main
does
guy.
the voice
Yeah,
of the main
yeah.
guy.
Right, right.
And he's in The League.
Yes.
Which is the American sitcom.
Boom.
Which I don't enjoy that much, but I've met people that really like it, so maybe it's
Maybe
good.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Netflix is fine, but BoJack is like very consistent, and I think Netflix is starting to pick up that it's, maybe along with, I don't really know. I mean, it's their main prestige thing.
Yeah.
I think really, which they will continue to do as long as it's getting critical acclaim.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. I've forgotten about it. I googled. I saw BoJack and Big Mouth were my two options that I put down when I first read the question. But I was then I googled Netflix originals to see what it was, and I saw like Master of None and remembered that's Netflix original, but kind of thought that wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But House of Cards.
Yeah.
I think it's been fantastically consistent and really, really interesting.
But can we watch it anymore?
Well, unfortunately, marred by the fact that Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
It's a fucking piece of shit. Yeah.
It's just so painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that in terms of? I know this is the slippery subject, but
Did you know that they've refilmed the whole of So?
oh, what? All the Money in the World.
All the Money in the World.
Yeah,
So they,
amazing.
They replaced him.
They replaced him. They'd filmed almost the whole thing, and they replaced.
They did it in
him.
2 weeks.
They did it in
as
2
well.
weeks.
It's incredible.
Mad.
I mean, Ridley Scott's fucking 80 as well.
Yeah.
It's just like
And they were just like, you know
incredible.
what? Well, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
And they just replaced him.
I mean, he was going to be the main Oscar buzz for that year as well for his supporting role in it, but obviously, I mean, fuck Kevin Spacey. So, I agree. I really loved House of Cards, and I think it's like it really sucks that I was really looking forward to rewatching it before whenever they do season 6. But it's just I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
Even though Francis Underwood is a fucking piece of shit as well, it's
Yeah, he plays a piece of shit. You can watch him and think he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean,
I don't know. What do you guys think of that, just as a whole, though? Like, can you ever enjoy anything that's done by someone who's been, done terrible things, or?
It's really hard. It's hard to go back, isn't it?
I think so. Things like The Usual Suspects and
And that's double whammy as well, because that's Bryan Singer as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's whole documentaries about him like abusing kids.
Yeah.
But things that you watch and learn to love, like before those sorts of things come out, it's really tough. Like I don't really know where I stand. If someone puts it on and I'm not really part of putting it on, I will probably still enjoy it when it's on.
Right.
But I don't think.
But I think I also support people who like take them out of it. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like you do that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I completely support.
Well, I think Well, what I'm saying is like if it's on against my choice, or I come into so let's say I go home to my house, my flatmates are watching, Usual Suspects.
Right.
I don't think I'm going to be like stop, turn it off right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I would.
It's hard to put it on. I think it's hard to be like, oh, let's watch this.
Pitch your Star Wars spin-off film. So in the vibe of a culture where we have, you know, the fifth film in the franchise planned before the first one even comes out, this is kind of a fun one just to imagine your own Star Wars spin-off film, which is obviously never going to be made, but with a lead and a director. Jim, do you want to go for it?
Well, this kind of comes from, I really loved the Bounty Hunter video game when I was a kid on PS2. It was like a Bounty Hunter video game, and used to like be able to play the Bounty Hunter and do all these Bounty Hunter things. So I think initially I was just like some sort of gritty Bounty Hunter thing, and I think I was thinking like Catherine Bigelow style.
Nice.
Like, so it'd be like really sort of like raw and like grow. And I thought like Charlize Theron, who basically playing the same exact character from Mad Max, but in this, and she has, you know, all her sidekicks who do her bidding, and maybe she has a side person, maybe Chris Hemsworth's in it.
Nice.
He's being handsome.
Sure.
And also I was thinking, I think after I watched Incredibles 2, loved Jack so much in the scene with raccoon. I just thought, so an animated short comedy where a Yoda discovers that he's really sick at using the Force, and like that happening, and him just like being like able to lift things up and like manipulate people and stuff would be wicked. But I think that's probably just because I love Jack. I just want to see more stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good pitch. That's a nice pitch. I like it a lot.
Or a pod racing sports film. How sick would that be?
That would be good.
Like a film about pod racing. That's like kind of like Moneyball.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
With also with Brad
like
Pitt.
a Need for Speed type thing.
Yeah,
with
pod racing. Come on, that would be
one
amazing.
of the main characters be the fucking gross Jewish stereotype of fucking the fucking what's his name with the hat and it's like fucking owns slaves and like it's so fucking racist, dude. I like even when I was like 6, I knew that was like
yeah.
What's his name? Is it Watto?
Watto.
The flying.
Well remembered. Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's got wings.
So he would be the main character of that.
Yeah,
that
100%. He's the linchpin of the
a Watto standalone movie.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Sid?
Mine would be a series. So it's a short series. They're each 20 minutes long. And it's R2-D2 travelling around the universe.
Europe.
But just like doing stunts and that. Because he's always getting like really battered up and like smoking. So I think it'd be called Far2D2. And it's it's like a challenge. And it like he has to like, I don't know, grind down a rail or like really, really jump off a building or try and do these tasks. Or like a Jackass type thing. So I think it would be
Jackass.
It would probably be directed by someone like Johnny Knoxville,
Wow.
but like a space Johnny Knoxville. So whatever the equivalent is,
Johnny Knoxville in space.
Yeah, and essentially, what it would be like a travel documentary as well, because he's traveling far from where he's from.
Does it link into some food stuff? Are you gonna see a lot of Ramsay?
Ramsay could be involved, but maybe that's another spin-off series.
I like that a lot.
That's just based in the Japanese, the cantina.
I'm trying to think of a good pun.
Goes to Dexter's diner as well, and like R2-D2's like trying the food.
Death Star Canteen.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, with Eddie Izzard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, that was an
Nailed it.
R2-D2 stunt show.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Also travel show as well.
I really that's
That's it.
great.
Let's get it made.
Question 9. What's your favourite cinema in the world? A cinema you can really recommend to people to go to and really enjoy a movie?
Holloway Road, Wetherspoons. Because it's an old cinema. It's a really good Art Deco building. It used to be a cinema.
Oh, you mean like the
Coronet? Yeah.
And they do show films there.
Do they actually?
Yes. And
Well, I've never seen one there, but
I've heard on the grapevine.
There have been many times I've gone there and then gone home and watched a film on my laptop.
Also, sometimes I've gone to the cinema, which is opposite, the Odeon on Holloway Road, and then gone to the Wetherspoons.
Yeah, actually, we went for a beer with my dad after me and my dad went to see Blade Runner at that pub.
Huh.
Yeah.
But also, Holloway Road Odeon is actually wicked because I just love being able to walk to the cinema. Like, as someone who's brought up in the countryside, being able to walk to the cinema and just go whenever you want is awesome. Really and it's kind of the one I always go to because of a certain, deal that is, funnily enough, the sponsor of this show. Thank you, comparethemarket.com for free cinema tickets for everyone.
Love it.
But yeah, also,
I think locally I would disagree. I'd say it's worth a bus journey. Not even maybe a bus journey from you. I could probably walk from my house.
But it is that
just to say, we're based in North London. I really, really like the View Cinema in Wood Green. That whenever I've gone there, the screens are first of all, it's pitch black in the room, which is better. Like I potentially understand the safety lights for the exits, but like. I don't know what they've done, but
it really is pitch
but
black.
There's none.
Literally,
but they don't care. But they've thrown caution to the winds and got rid of all the emergency exits.
I always take beers in. They never search my bag. I can drink them in there comfortably because it's pitch black.
I never search my bag, even though I look roguely.
And the screen is fucking really, really nice. Like it looks amazing. The projection is it's massive. It's rarely frequented by like masses.
That's
like,
really...
So Sid can sit there with his beer and in his pants.
I really am into that.
Also, any day of the week, it's $5.99 for an adult.
That is good.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
really
and if
good.
you go with tonight's sponsor, comparethemarket.com, with Compare the Meerkat,
that is just £3 per ticket.
Every Tuesday, Wednesday, you can go with another person or a spare seat for your popcorn for £3 each.
That's really, really good.
But
maybe I will check
we
that
should
out
get
now.
them to sponsor.
Oh, it's really
good. We have done them a lot of free.
I was totally blown away by like how much of like a good experience it is. Because I used to go to the View in Angel quite a lot, and it's shite. And just don't bother because...
And now I tell people not to go.
Yeah. Also, in terms of cinemas being close to Wetherspoons, the View is right next to Wetherspoons.
You should do your own podcast where you do Wetherspoons.
View is
it's more just like a Google Maps.
View Angel is right next to the Angel Wetherspoons. Odeon Holloway Road is right next to the Holloway Road Wetherspoons. So
there you go.
They're always good places to go afterwards.
That's true. There's nothing like going to a pub and talking about the film, right?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Actually, I should really pick Holloway Road Wetherspoons. No, Odeon. Because I went there a lot when I was a kid.
Right.
So that's where I watched the first Harry Potter films and the Lord of the Rings films and recently other films. I've seen Blade Runner there and some other stuff. But just based on my last 4 cinema visits, I have to say Wood Green.
There's some good. That is a good pick. I'm always after willing to and wanting to hear about good kind of quiet cinemas where everyone's kind of respectful, big screen, actual darkness.
Also, you can sneak beers, and that's
really good. As well.
It's really important, I think.
Yeah.
I think the last at least 3 years when the Star Wars films have come out around Christmas. Every single one, I'll go to the midnight screening with a 4-pack of beer. And,
lovely. And
it's a really good formula that worked really well until the most recent one. And I fell asleep because I missed the entire thing.
Wait, what? What, Solo
True
or
story.
Last Jedi?
No, Last Jedi.
What?
I paid £11 to go and see The Last Jedi.
And you fell asleep because you drank too many beers.
I did... So... You know, it came out at midnight.
Yeah.
I thought it came out the next day at midnight because I was an idiot and
he had read the date wrong.
I read the date wrong, and I drank some beers at home with my flatmates. I went to it, bought a 4-pack,
as per the tradition,
and some snacks to go and watch the film at midnight, and just conked out and fell asleep throughout the whole thing.
Fuck.
I think I got a beer. I got 1 can in. And slept the entire... And I haven't seen it. Yeah. I'm waiting to watch it. It's going to be a good time when I do.
Such a good story.
So did you wake up just at the end? And
I've seen the end.
Literally at the end.
I've seen the end. I've seen the beginning.
That fucking sucks so bad. Oh god.
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare scenario.
Yeah. I mean, you almost feel like, is it indicative of the film? But I don't know. I always feel that if I ever fall asleep in films, I want to give it another chance. You know, like I deserve to.
I
But
fell asleep in Benjamin Button.
oh wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's a really boring mod.
I like Benjamin.
But in the
Button.
beginning, there's the middle bit, which is really boring.
I've never seen all of it.
He rides a really nice bike. He's very handsome.
He's very handsome.
Yeah. I think the last film I actually fell asleep in was Isle of Dogs, in the cinema because it was wasn't bad, but it was just so. I found it just so serviceable Wes Anderson, you know, and it's obviously visually incredible, but
just not
so emotionally distant.
Yeah,
you know, and I was a bit sleepy, and I didn't like fully fall asleep, but I was just like, I could feel my eyes were going. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. It's not a good sign, is it?
It's not a good sign.
Like when you're in assembly at school and you're
you're like,
no.
you feel your fucking eyelids going. You're just like, oh mate, that is not a good sign about the state of this. Great. Jim, did I ask you favorite cinema?
Yeah, no, we did a combination.
Holloway Road.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that a lot. I will check out both of them. I've been to the Holloway Road one actually. It's super nice, but I'll check out Wood Green.
It's a bit of a way away, but I've never had a bad time there.
That's nice. So, this is a new question that was not in the last episode with Patrick Brooks and Cassia Price, but I actually asked them if they wanted to add any questions to the roster of questions.
One.
So eventually, it will be a kind of a Frankenstein of questions from all of the people.
I like that's a really that's a nice.
Yeah,
nice way of building it up.
It's nice. And Cassia's question was, what's your favourite film that is widely considered bad? So it's almost guilty pleasure, but I don't really believe in the idea of guilty pleasure.
I'm not a fan of that.
I think guilty pleasure doesn't really exist.
But bad's quite like a subjective...
Yeah, I guess just widely considered
but I think
bad.
we all know what you mean.
But do you know what I mean? Like widely panned or disliked.
Well, I had to really think about it. Because
I don't have to think about this at all.
What are you going to
love
say?
all terrible films.
What's your film?
The whole Fast and Furious franchise. Love it all.
Oh, right, okay.
I love it all. And obviously, everyone thinks they're terrible films. And they're not masterpieces, but
Which
I
one in
watched them
particular
all.
is the worst that you love?
The worst one in particular... Well, Tokyo Drift is actually the really bad, but I don't love that one that much, so I'm going to say number 5 is probably the one. I think it's just called Fast and Furious, or the Furious 5?
Fast 5?
Fast 5? I can't remember. They've all got
It's the first one with the rock in, right?
Yeah, it
Fast
is. Yeah. I was struggling choosing one of the Marvel films, but I was just like, I don't really love them.
Yeah,
they're not like. Also, they're not technically bad. Like,
they're much better than they have to be.
They're made very well.
They could be much worse.
Yeah.
They could be much worse, and people would still go and they still make loads of money.
Yeah, like, the CGI is always good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's always good, and the camera work's always like fine, and it's never badly directed.
So I'd say the CGI is the best thing about the entire thing.
Yeah.
Right. The CGI is amazing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's me.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
I've got Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh my god!
Because I think that's a great film.
Do people think that's bad? I think that's
that's why I was thinking what's bad. Like,
I mean, I don't think it's considered,
awards
material,
but it should be.
Dude,
sweet. I love it. It's like it's a really feel-good film.
But I think it's on purpose, though, isn't it? Oh no, maybe I guess Fast and Furious. No, I know. Yeah, you are right.
It is on purpose, like.
But it is. Yeah, it's a bad.
But
film.
also, it's not necessarily accepted as like good because it's on purpose. It's not particularly a good film.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
Bob and I think it's great.
Bob and I used to watch Harold and Kumar a lot. Like stoner films.
Fuck me.
Remember that?
God, Harold and Kumar.
I put Dude, Where's My Car along with Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, but I don't think I really love those films. I really love Fast and Furious.
Right.
Right, yeah. I think the casting of Dude, Where's My Car is just perfect. And also how
always in our hearts.
how cheap it is and how like the jokes are like they're almost like dad jokes.
Yeah.
Like the one with the tattoo when one of them's got dude, one of them's got sweet.
And that you're laughing the whole time, even though it goes on for a fucking age, way too long.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous, and it ends with like a 80-foot woman in a bikini smashing up a bowling alley or something. Like,
I've never seen it, and that is
what you've never seen it.
That's amazing.
How have you just
I'm,
never seen
it?
it?
No, because now I'm going to enjoy it even more. Because I'm going to wait till the end.
that is really fun. Like
That's amazing.
it's a really fun film.
Yeah.
Okay, they're good. They're good answers. Good answers. So question 11 is Patrick's question, which is a very Patrick
classic
Brooks question.
Patrick
It's a
question,
very Patrick Brooks question, and I can't quite remember how he worded it, but it was. I will put it. You will see it on screen now as you're listening to it, the exact way he worded it. But to me, it's how will we watch films the same way in 50 years? And if not, how do you think we will consume them? And if not, will something replace movies? Discuss.
50 years is pretty mad, isn't it? Films have only been around for like 150 years.
Right.
Like, internet's only been around for 30 years.
I think part of the beauty of it is like the simplicity of being able to sit there and watch something with people, and also I think like the division between you being passive to what's going on and you being active to what's going on is potentially the division between watching films and what gaming's like. So
that's gonna probably close.
So I don't know whether the division between film and gaming is going to get smaller.
I think I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this. I'm friends with someone who is an actor, and they're in like the new Black Mirror. Cool. And like there's a new episode from Black Mirror where that line is brought very close together, literally, where like you as an audience member are choosing the way that the TV show goes.
Right.
Yeah.
You are like, you literally go like, what do you want this actor to do? And you say what you want them to do, and they film all these alternate endings, which is, I think obviously that's not, it's not 50 years, but that is.
It's like I never remember the name. You know the name of the game.
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange.
Yeah, there's decision-based games where it's kind of like you are watching a film and you're not really, you're pretty passive, but you're also making the decisions which trigger.
But I don't reckon that. I just think that people love the idea that a story is told to them and they have no ability to change it, and that they're just there watching it, and they're watching a slice of somebody else, and they're not necessarily they're obviously projecting themselves into the characters, but not necessarily into their actions. Right. Something that I'd like to see in an ideal world, I'd like to see you got films and you got 3D films, which is it's a bit of a gimmick, but it'd be cool to see some sort of like Minority Report-esque holographic recreation of the scenes that you're in, and experience it.
We'll go through some sort of VR thing where it's like a little bit gimmicky in the same way I reckon it's 3D.
Well, but I think it's really hampered by the fact that you're not doing it with somebody else.
But do you reckon? No, I reckon you will be able to do it with other people.
I hope so.
I think that's I think that's it will be like a room full of people like you have in the cinema. Or also, I reckon it will be like Netflix. Everything will be Netflix. I think cinemas will probably, or it'll all be these episodic adventures that we've been talking about.
Right.
There'll be much less films, much more people being let's just hop around these different characters and just show their individual lives, because they're individual films, but they're all part of this one big thing. Yeah. Because then you can really milk the cash dollar bills.
But 50 years is so mental.
50 years is mad.
But if you think about 50 years ago, for the most part, films are still being screened in cinemas in the same way. I think what might change
is the way that the production is made.
Well, yes,
and the way they're distributed.
But potentially how they're viewed domestically might change.
Definitely how they're viewed. There are probably people that never go to the cinema and have seen all the films that have come out.
One of 100%. For the previous question of what's your favourite cinema, my third option was my laptop, because.
My home.
Nearly every single film I would watch on my laptop or through a television via my laptop. It's only very recently that I've started watching films based on this week's sponsor, comparethemarket.com. But I think the domestic viewing is is really the driving force of like the funding that goes into it.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
But also, I think they're definitely going to think about the idea that people are watching films on their phone and which we're watching films on an iPad. So I reckon they'll like tailor the idea of like this film is like, well, we're talking about fucking Unfriended. That is definitely. It's weird they're even showing it in the cinema because it's definitely the ideal way of watching that is in bed on a laptop because it's a laptop screen.
Yeah.
And so not that will be the exact same thing with a phone, but I think that thing will happen. I don't know what it is.
I think it's very.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think
I find it fucking depressing as fuck. I mean, did you see? You know, there's a classic thing where people, you know, filmmakers would view it how it's meant to be watched on a cinema screen. There was a thing that like Taika Waititi put up on like Twitter of like how he knows Thor Ragnarok is going to be watched, and it's it's like a television screen with like a cardboard phone cut out around it, and then big fingers like over like the
whole
top,
thing
over bits of the screen. So the film has to work like that.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Oh, he's great. He's so great.
Love
Have you seen
Thor
this new
Ragnarok
Have you seen this
as
new
well.
movie? Like what it's about? He's like playing Hitler in it.
What? No.
Yeah, he's like directing it at the moment.
Oh
It sounds
shit!
kinda
No, I
mad.
haven't.
I really. Sorry.
So I'm just going to say before we move on,
Yeah.
I think it's a crying shame that Netflix films aren't shown in the cinema. I think almost like to remove them from that space is almost a slight like it's slightly offensive to the people that pay to watch Netflix all the time. Like I want it fine if Netflix want to make like a production company, but fine, it's great. They've made loads of great stuff, but like I'd love to watch their films on a bigger screen than my shite telly in my room. Like I'd love to do that.
But that's their whole thing, isn't it? It's much cheaper. Like they can make all that cool shit because they've got like they don't have to be like, oh, let's put it on this screen and all these other things.
But I to be honest, I feel like it's a responsibility of a company like that, which is huge, to at least make them viewable at some point, even if there's Netflix cinemas. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
If Netflix bought out Cineworld or something, and they become like Netflix cinemas, and you can.
But they're all about the content, though, aren't they? They're all about churning it out. They're not. They don't. I don't think they really care at Netflix. They should. I agree with you. But and that would be amazing. I'd love to see like fucking.
I think
what was it? Natalie Portman.
Oh,
Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Amazing. That the cinema would have been incredible.
Yeah, it was, and the work that's gone into that. I feel for the CG artists and the texture artists.
The sound. People who do the sound like all lost on like shitty tinny.
That's the thing that Netflix is. I'm not talking about their original content. I'm talking about the films that they buy and then put original on. Because Annihilation in America came out in cinemas.
It came out in the cinema.
Did it?
Yeah, it came out. But Paramount freaked out internationally that it wouldn't be accessible.
I listened to a
podcast
podcast
sold it to
where
Netflix.
they were talking about it coming out in cinema. So I was like,
that.
hold on, what are you talking about? I thought it was a Netflix. I thought they made it.
So it really sucks that it's becoming and Andy Serkis' new movie, the Jungle Book one, has just been sold to Netflix because the studios.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's so mad.
They made that at the place that I work at.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They freak out that it's not going to make enough money in cinema, so they sell it and cut their losses for a bulk amount, which is probably, if it's a real hit, not what they'll make in the cinema. But it cuts out from the potential.
Yeah.
And, and it's. I think it's just what the market demands as Disney slowly take over the world.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Slowly take over the world.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they're gonna when they buy Fox, they're gonna own 40% of all of the cinema
content.
industry, right?
That's amazing.
It's
Jesus.
It's to be able to put Wolverine in the MCU. I don't think it's worth it.
But they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
They will.
They will do it.
But that's what I mean.
They're going to buy
I think
X-Men. Yeah,
I think
they are.
I think it's not.
I do love X-Men.
I want to see him.
I do. I mean, I love that idea, but I think the idea of it is not
fighting
worth it.
Wolverine, that's going to happen. We're going to see it.
The idea of it for what it's going to cost, like the movie industry, is just not worth it. I don't know. I think
death of cinema. That's what people called the.
I'd
Avengers
love to see a
Infinity
Netflix
War.
cinema or a Netflix like viewing era when, if you have a subscription, let's say you have a Netflix subscription, you can go twice a month. Like I'd love that. Like that'd be really cool. Yeah. Like I think that's a way to make it like something that's a bit different.
It's a really good idea. Or you like buy a pass, which is like, you know, it's like £10 a month. You see anything you want all the time online, but also you can go to like 4 movies a month. You know, in their cinemas.
Yeah,
that's a really I didn't think about that. It's a real good idea.
And it's an easier way to gift people stuff. It's like, oh, you know, it's your birthday. Like, I'm just, you know, there you go and see a film. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to buy you Odeon cards are a bit clunky.
Right.
And a bit shite, but I know that everyone's got an access to most people have some access to Netflix, whether it's through like themselves or a parent or an partner. Like,
yeah. That's a good. It's a good point. Great. I guess just to end on, what's the film right now out now in cinemas you can recommend, or something that's coming out in the near future you can recommend?
Other than Skyscraper.
Other than...
I know what you're going to say, and if you don't say it, I will say it, but if you don't, I'm going to say something else.
No, you can say it, and then I'll say this other thing that I've seen.
I'm going to, see, controversially, well, not controversially, but almost against my will, I'd like to say Mission Impossible Fallout.
I was going to say that.
Oh.
Mission Impossible Fallout's so good.
It was brilliant. I loved it. Like, I want to say Incredibles 2 because
but you also should watch Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Because that's amazing.
I kind of thought you might say that.
No, I was going to say Mission Impossible.
I went to see it 2 days
so
ago,
good.
and it was really, really good.
It's great. I saw it twice.
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I
it's
really
Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Oh, God.
I mean, the bathroom fight scene is like one of the best
like something
hand-to-hand
out
fight
of
scenes ever.
What
He throws him through the fucking mirror, and then he holds the puck to his throat.
But
It's
like
great.
everything hurts, right? You
Yeah.
feel it.
So they really take out those things. You know, in a lot of like Bond movies, they have a lot of like really big, grand things. A lot of people getting blasted and shot and stuff. And you don't really feel the pain at all. But like when they have those really little things, when they're like having proper fist fight, you're like, you really feel them being battered. And you're
Henry
like,
Cavill reloading his arms.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
It's great.
Also, I think the fact that you have someone like Tom Cruise, who is famously unbeatable, and you see him react to just a punch, and he fucking and he falls down, like you can really play with the character or the perception of the actor that you have to make your fight scene feel more realistic. And he was shit in the fight scene,
right.
And
they
all have like their own fighting style, like. And
I mean, Tom. What's the thing? Like Ethan Hunt is a scalpel, and Henry Cavill's character is a hammer, right?
So good.
It is so true. You just like it's in them little moments that you just feel the character more, and you just enjoy it more because you have a better understanding of who they are.
Yeah.
And by the way, that Henry Cavill doesn't care about destroying the mask maker.
Yeah.
He just fucking... Oh, this is spoilers, sorry for... This is not really a spoiler,
But you're listening to a film podcast. You're going to get some spoilers.
But, you know, it's just the... I think it's the best of every type of action set piece, just done, like, amazing.
Yeah.
Also,
right?
Vanessa Kirby's character is fucking mad. Like,
Which one
the one who's the White Widow, her character is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, her performance is so sick. Yeah. Like, you really believe that she is this, like, kind of just eccentric rich person who doesn't really give a fuck about anything. She's just like, well, I'm just going to... go on.
The spoilers that you said are expected.
Yes.
Oh, no, we are going to spoil loads of stuff.
So from now on, if you want to go and watch Mission Impossible, pause it and then go and watch Mission Impossible.
Also,
because
remember, we've talked about loads of films.
but like this is a new film, so like,
oh yes,
if you don't want to know
this is
like
the new bits
and bobs, because what Emil's mentioned before is kind of a given.
Yeah.
But from now on, he'd
full spoilers for Mission Impossible Fallout. It's really great. Please go and see it. I'll put when you can skip to skip the spoilers. Yeah. Sid, you go ahead, spoil it.
Spoil away.
I don't want to. I was stopping you in your process.
I was saying some spoiler stuff.
So go ahead.
That was it. She's just really good. I really believed her character. How she was like this person who didn't really care about anything, and always just kind of mad, and is just in it to like for the excitement. And, yeah.
I also loved how it was one of those films I was really kept guessing until the end.
Yeah.
And they ramp it up and up and up. You think like this can't get more mad.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
And then they smash 2 helicopters into each other.
Oh, the helicopter chase was
fucking amazing. I don't know
Also-
how do they make it?
Because Tom Cruise does all his own stunts.
No, but like the helicopter with CGI definitely.
No. You know, You know,
he's holding on.
You know, he got his helicopter license to do it.
No.
Henry Cavill
coolest
can fly one anyway.
So
and
cool.
Tom Cruise is like, he could fly a helicopter, but he had to get his license. So he just went and got his license. That most of it is
He's
filmed.
so committed.
I think all of the CGI stuff is like, you know, very much like in the fucking like the airship not the parachute. What's the word? You know, where you like free falling sequence.
Yeah.
Oh my
jump out
God.
of the plane.
When he
Amazing.
has the
That is
issue
that is literally all shot. The only thing CGI in it is the implementation of the storm.
Yeah.
Everything else
That's
is like
amazing.
they shot in Abbey Dubai. It's shot in one. It's a fucking cameraman with an IMAX camera strapped to his.
That was the thing I was thinking about. The cameraman.
They are both falling out of a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
It's so cool.
Absolutely serious.
Fuck off.
Yeah, the camera.
It's so
the fucking
cool.
camera guy has an IMAX.
Think
camera
about the
strapped to
cameraman
his chest.
filming all the shit that they have to do.
That's amazing.
Insane.
So
It's
they both
insane.
jump out of an airplane. Fuck my life.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, it looks so
I like
good.
the film anyway before I even knew that.
Now you like it more.
It's all. I mean, you know the story that Tom Cruise like broke his ankle.
Yeah,
doing
in
it. And they
London.
Keep, and they keep in the take where he breaks
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So cool.
But they literally had to shut down the production for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then like I think making it was a fucking nightmare, but
Really?
it just pays
I'm
off
not
so much,
surprised.
and it's made tons of money as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a good film.
It's really
a
good.
good film.
Like,
Really
it's
good
actually
film.
great. Like, also something I just really liked. I couldn't tell if in other cities, but at least in London, the continuity of
Geography.
where they ran and what he
Perfect.
did was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Like St Paul. I knew it was St Paul's from that.
It was
like,
amazing.
from
It was
that
like,
alleyway.
It was
Yeah.
really lovely to be able to like track that because I can't normally do it in American
Yeah.
cities.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, I
St
know
Paul's
where they're
all the way
going.
to Blackfriar and then
From-
Tate Modern.
You can
St.
run to
Paul's
Tate Modern
across
from
the
there.
bridge
Across
by
the
Tate
yeah.
Modern, yeah.
You could do that if you were completely insane.
Yeah, if you're as fast
You could do
as
it in
Tom
10
Cruise,
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great. The music was incredible as well. For that, I can't find it anywhere, even on the soundtrack. You know, in the helicopter chase, that like relentless. It was like a hammer. Just that score was just incredible.
Awesome.
I really loved. That's a great recommendation.
but also I'm really upset that I can't say Incredibles 2. Like, it really hurts.
Is it out of the cinema now?
Incredibles 2?
Yeah.
No, it must still be there.
Oh,
must
it's
still
still
be
out.
out.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant like is it?
Oh
out?
no.
Yeah.
Is it still out?
It
Is
must
it
be
out?
out.
Yeah.
It must be.
It must
still
be
in
out.
something
It's only
else.
been out for like
I just can't-
3
yeah.
weeks.
I've
maybe?
actually not seen it yet.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
have I ruined
I know.
some stuff?
No, you
No,
said
okay,
nothing.
okay,
cool.
You said Jack's really funny.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
well,
brilliant.
Jack is in the same way as the Minions. I think we said this already, but more
Yeah.
Jack, more funny.
I'm super excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think
Yeah.
Brad Bird is just
Better than the first one.
incredible. I love the Iron Giant so much.
Yeah.
And I'm
Also,
super excited.
I love that Brad Bird plays Edna as well.
Oh,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
It's
best thing.
such a.
Also,
it's so
Edna
wonderful.
is like such a weird character because, like, obviously in The Incredibles, the superheroes are all these people who have their powers from nothing but being born. Edna
Yeah.
is like the complete opposite of that. She's like has a skill that's been honed,
Yeah.
and she's like this weird character that's in it that is it's really
She is a
interesting.
meme before memes existed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I
I
think
really.
everyone knows what you say if you say darling.
Yeah.
No caps.
Yeah, like
No caps. No caps.
everyone knows it. Everyone knows it.
Perfect.
Great. That's super cool. Well, that's the last question. I have
Thank
one
you.
last.
That was really
No,
good.
it's so great to have you guys on. I have one last recommendation of a film to check out. A thing I'm going to start doing to recommend a kind of obscure film. I watched a movie the other day called The Unpolished, which was recommended on Letterboxd by the guy who directed The Florida Project and Tangerine, Sean
awesome.
Baker.
John Baker,
So he recommended this movie called The Unpolished, which is a coming of age story, but it's the best possible version of this movie you can think of. It's about a 14-year-old girl and her drug dealing parents, and they live with all these kind of like weird old guys, like druggies that kind of raised her as well.
Jesus.
She kind of has nothing. She has like 2 sets of clothes. She just kind of has fun. She's wise beyond her years. It's so poetic, but really kind of abstract in parts, but so fucking watchable. Like, there's never a moment where it's like too faux Terrence Malick-y, you know? It's just so brilliant and like considered. like as I say, like she kind of has like 2 outfits that she rotates. So she really wants to wear tights. So there's a moment with a felt tip. She like draws fishnet tights on just like one leg. So for like half of the movie, she just has one leg covered in these fishnet tights. It's called The Unpolished. I can't remember the director's name. She's called Pia something. But really, seek it out. It's a DVD that's only available in the UK, crazily. So The Unpolished, really, really, just any way you can see it, do it. So you can kind of watch it when you're a little bit tired, and it'll really keep your attention.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, so The Unpolished. Do you guys have, before we go, do you guys have anything you want to plug? Anything that anyone can check out of yours? Where do people find you?
If you at all care about anything that we do and you want to find anything more, go to sidandjim.com and you'll learn about what we do. And maybe see some of the, Fast and Furious influence.
That's where you can find the art that we make and shows that we curate.
Other projects.
Digitally and physically. We also have a podcast where we interview artists and talk about recent shows.
Yeah.
That's called Artists and Friends. You can find that on iTunes and SoundCloud on, is it Player FM?
Yeah, Player FM.
Yeah.
Your relative apps.
Expect stuff soon coming from production type thing called Floor Plan.
Yeah.
And also we're just starting a joint venture as a studio as part of Hornsey Town Hall in Crouch End, which will hopefully be doing an exhibition in about a month, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, depending on how well things go.
Great.
Yeah.
I look forward to it very much. It's been great to have you guys on, because
it's been a pleasure.
It's
thank you.
In a lot of your work, I always see these kind of, pop culture is really the wrong word, but it's a
something you recognise.
Yeah, it's like it's a certain like cinematic sensibility and like filmic entertainment kind of sensibility that means I like it basically, and that it's never boring.
Thank you.
So it's good to talk about films with you guys. This Pictures with Love, episode 2. Stop watching Kevin Spacey movies.